can't wait for our kingdom to start and for there to be finished. They idols and lying religions. Look for the crown like an Edris. Hey, this that crown talk. Wisdom of Solomon 5 talk. This that second Edris 6 and 9. We want eyes talk. It's your time to end. And my time again. It's our time to win. Away with the sin. You know what it is. Rejoice with my kin. See that is why we repented. Go to the streets, I can see myself in it. The city is bright, the kingdom of light. A wonderful sight past the angels, the inner light. I need 1,000 years of labor. Sit on my throne with my savior. Try to know wine, press alone. He bring pain like major. You think the nations is equal to us? TK Kirkland, who raised you? Flex on occasion, my God a racist. That's why we moving with patience. It's been a long time coming. I spent my whole life running. Now that I'm 10 toes down and established my faith on 100. Woe to the nations, my king will race them. You know they gotta be punished. Jeremiah 25. Yeah, you know they gon' fry. Whoa!
Said he won't vote, he looking for smoke. So, we give him some more. We want the world, we breaking them down. Taking the kingdom, can't wait for the crown. We want the world, we breaking them down. Taking the kingdom, can't wait for the crown. It's the end of the world. And the beginning of ours. It's the end of the world. And the beginning of ours. It's the end of the world. And the beginning of ours. We want the world, we breaking them down. Taking the kingdom, can't wait for the crown. It's the end of the world. Even the even, spend holy days away from the heathen. I need a break, I don't need a reason. I need a script, I don't need your grievance. Keep it to yourself, it's better for my health. Leave it on the shelf, ain't hearing nothing else. Tonight ain't the night, knowing the price. Pay it off with my life, till it's out with your lights. Do it all for the Christ, and he ain't playing nice. Knew the end from the start. Fix your face like it's art. The sons of a simp, call them Bart. Yeah, you did your best, played your part. But now it's time to cut you to the heart. Flex on occasion, it's the strangest of the salvation. You see it, believe it, amazing. Them terrorists coming invasion since the creation. War of mine, Lord bless the general. Greatest nation, eat them unequivocal. Bombs dropping, buddy, cause it's biblical. Start shit, now it's time to finish. Whoa! Said he won't vote, he looking for smoke. So, we give him some more. We want the world, we breaking them down. Taking the kingdom, can't wait for the crown. We want the world, we breaking them down. Taking the kingdom, can't wait for the crown. It's the end of the world. And the beginning of ours. It's the end of the world. And the beginning of ours. It's the end of the world. And the beginning of ours. We want the world, we breaking them down. Taking the kingdom, can't wait for the crown. It's the end of the world.
I can't wait for our kingdom to start and for there to be finished. Get rid of all of their idols and lying religions. Look for the crown like an Edris. Hey, this that crown talk. Wisdom of Solomon 5 talk. This that second Edris 6 and 9. We want eyes talk. It's your time to end. And my time again. It's our time to win. Away with the sin. You know what it is. Rejoice with my kin. See that is why we repented. Go to the streets, I can see myself in it. The city is bright, the kingdom of light. A wonderful sight past the angels, the inner light. I need 1,000 years of labor. Sit on my throne with my savior. Try to know wine, press alone. He bring pain like major. You think the nations is equal to us? TK Kirkland, who raised you? Flex on occasion, my God a racist. That's why we moving with patience. It's been a long time coming. I spent my whole life running. Now that I'm 10 toes down and established my faith on 100. Woe to the nations, my king will race them. You know they gotta be punished. Jeremiah 25. Yeah, you know they gon' fry. Whoa!
Said he won't vote, he looking for smoke. So, we give him some more. We want the world, we breaking them down. Taking the kingdom, can't wait for the crown. We want the world, we breaking them down. Taking the kingdom, can't wait for the crown. It's the end of the world. And the beginning of ours. It's the end of the world. And the beginning of ours. It's the end of the world. And the beginning of ours. We want the world, we breaking them down. Taking the kingdom, can't wait for the crown. It's the end of the world.
Is the mic on? All right, hey, shalom, shalom. Most High in Christ bless y'all. Yes, yes. Once again, we at the Nehemiah Squad. We're going to reintroduce ourselves. I'm Captain Zakai.
Captain Hananiah.
Hey, I'm Officer Shem.
Hey, I'm Officer Judah.
Hey, listen. You know what? I wanted to save Cap for last. Let's get back. Yo, Captain Hananiah, man, you here with us, bro.
All praises. Good to be here. Running with the Nehemiah Squad. Get this word out to our people. All praises.
All praises, man. It's good to have you, Cap. Hey, throw that thumbnail up real quick, because this is it's going to be a great show today. All right? This one is called The City's Divided, How Race Shapes Our Neighborhoods, right? So we're going to be talking about redlining. We have a very distinguished guest with us, Dr. Lawrence Brown. But before we bring him on, we want to show something. We want to show y'all a quick video. We're going to talk in a little bit, and then we're going to bring on Dr. Lawrence Brown to break it down, because this brother got all the information that we want to hear. Trust me. All right? Hey, play that video real quick. Make sure that, yeah, there we go. Go ahead.
So a few years back, West Compton, green as can be. Not a Negro, Mexican, or Jap in sight. But as you can see here, in less than a decade, the entire neighborhood's completely flipped. Red City. In fact, they had to build more housing just to accommodate all the Negroes who want to live there.
So, what are you prepared to do for us?
All right, pause that real quick. So what we're looking at here is, just put the picture back up so we can take a look. Right, so these are a bunch of bankers sitting around, right, and they're talking about selling houses to black people and what kind of interest rate. So they're talking about giving a 7% interest rate. The other guy's saying, hey, that's too much interest for these people to pay. There's no way in the world they're going to be paying them, right? Now, what you're looking at is a map, and Dr. Brown is going to get into it. This is how the redlining actually started. We're going to come back to this video. I just want to give y'all a little taste of what we're going to be dealing with and how it's deeper than just housing, and how it goes into other things, healthcare, schools, so on and so forth, all right? So let's bring in Dr. Lawrence Brown. Doc, where you at? Put the brother on the screen. Yes, sir. Hey. How you doing, Doc?
Doing well, thank you.
All right, excellent, man. It's good to have you on the show. Just introduce yourself and give a little bit of background, as to your how'd you get into this, how can I say it, your expertise in what we got going on today.
All right, well, hello to everyone. I'm Lawrence Brown. I am a research scientist at the mighty Morgan State University in Baltimore, Maryland.
That's right.
And basically, I got into this work around 2010, 2011, wrapped up my PhD at the University of Tennessee Health Science Center in Memphis, came on up here to Baltimore, started my career, really started researching like racial segregation, urban policies, urban health. And in 2015, we had what we call an uprising here after Freddie Gray was murdered by the Baltimore Police Department.
That's right. Yep.
And really that spurred a lot of questioning, a lot of thinking about what we needed to do here in Baltimore differently. And I started writing about, why things took off the way they took off. And then later, of course, you had Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, George Floyd, who were killed in 2020.
That's right.
And that led to a whole nother round of uprisings across the nation. So I think that led to what some people called a racial reckoning. But of course, we may be moving way back in the direction we're going in now. But I think that helps describe and set some of the context for the work that I do.
Okay, excellent, Doc. So let's get right into it. Talk to us and explain to us what exactly is redlining. How did this thing get started, and how does it set up all these neighborhoods? This is incredible stuff right here. Please.
Absolutely. Well, in my mind, when I started really thinking about redlining, because I was creating a board game called Urban Cipher back in 2022. So I was thinking, okay, I want to create this game. It's a lot like Monopoly. Red, yellow, blue, green would be the players. I knew how I was going to set it up. And I knew my game would be rigged, just like real life. So red and yellow players are going to struggle to move around the board. Blue and green, they were going to fly around the board and make all the money. So I thought, well, okay, I could do that. I did do it, but I wanted to make sure that it's based on real evidence. So I started going to the National Archives, because some scholars, they were saying, well, yeah, the federal government, they created those maps. It's just like the gentleman we're discussing in that video you showed. So everybody acknowledges that the maps exist, but some scholars were saying, well, the government never spread those maps. they only kept them in the offices and the hallways of their offices, so nobody knew about them on the outside. So I said, well, that doesn't make a lot of sense, because there's a lot of studies that show impacts where you have better outcomes in blue and green communities and worse outcomes in yellow and red. So I said the only way that could be true, when you have statistical study after statistical study showing these impacts, is if the maps got out. So I went to the National Archives, which is, National Archives 2, which is located in College Park, Maryland, about 40 miles from where I live. So I drive down there and I go periodically to look at evidence. And I had a research associate. She was looking for some things as well. So she found this article, and you may be able to pull it up. It was written by the Federal Home Loan Bank Board, but the name of the journal is the Federal Home Loan Bank Review. So you have this federal agency called the Federal Home Loan Bank Board back in August 1936. They write in their federal journal an article about security maps, because they called those maps residential security maps. That's the technical name for the maps.
Right.
So in this article, they say, hey, we did it. We spread these maps to over 100 institutions, hundreds of institutions across the nation.
All right. So real quick.
There, they admitted it.
Right. So when they say they're spreading it to institutions, it's not just banks. Is it just banks, or is it different institutions, like, say, real estate agencies, you know what I'm saying, brokers, things like that, school system? Who are they sending it to?
That's a great question. I think the language that they use in the article is mortgage lending institutions. So certainly that includes banks.
Right.
But you also had other organizations, other financial institutions like savings and loans, which largely don't exist anymore, but they were banking institutions. You also had life insurance companies that at that time, they didn't just deal with life insurance, they had mortgage holdings. So they had a housing division. So the life insurance companies, they were getting access to these maps as well. Right. So yes, that's you're pulling up the article, or at least that's the website you go to, which is the Federal Reserve's website. I believe it's the St. Louis branch. And then if you go down to one of those articles, there it is. So security maps for analysis of mortgage lending areas. And if you're able to zoom into that second paragraph, that's where you see that what they're really doing is they're patting themselves on the back. They're proud of their work. And so they're just letting everybody know, hey, y'all, look at what we created. And the evidence is right there in that federal journal. So it's in the federal document that they were spreading this information.
So in that second paragraph, that's where we need to take a quick look at that. Can you guys zoom it in or no? Okay, I think they're trying to zoom in and then put it back up on the screen. But keep going.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Yeah. So you asked, well, what institutions? So mortgage lending institutions. So not just banks, savings and loans, credit unions would have had it. Life insurance companies would have had it. And then it would have made its way to. There's a different way, but it did make it to the real estate industry as well.
See that? Oh man, it's a whole thing. It's a whole systemic situation going on there. Hey, pull that up real quick. Let's post that up just so we can take a look at that second paragraph. All right. Zoom in, please. All right. Are you talking about where it says the practical value starting there?
Yes.
Okay.
That's it. So if you zoom all the way in, or you may be able to read it, Captain Zakai, but that they say they're.
Right. It says the practical value. Hey, can you read that? You see it?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
It says the practical value of such maps in guiding lending policies and collection policies is being demonstrated to mortgage institutions throughout the country by the Mortgage Rehabilitation Division of the Federal Home Loan Bank Board. As a result, several hundred institutions which had never previously considered such an approach to their mortgage problem have begun to develop and maintain security maps. They will thus be in a better position than ever before to know in what neighborhoods they ought to seek loans and in what neighborhoods they are over-loaned.
Wow. There you go. There you go.
And if you scroll back up, you'll see it was August 1936. That's
Right.
the Federal Journal. They're sending it out to mortgage lending institutions. So they're getting a good word. They're
Right.
getting a good word straight from the feds.
Man, and that's 36. So this is even before the end of the war, right? Because they were saying
Before World War II, yes.
right. So this was already going into existence. Sometimes when you hear about it, it seems like they were doing like somebody a service because they came back from the war and they wanted to help people out. But this was already going to be in effect.
Bingo.
Wow. All right. Hey, go ahead. Please, Doc. Keep going.
Yeah, I mean, no. So that was an incredible find because if there's ever a court case, and hopefully there are plenty in the future, that's Exhibit A. It's not Dr. Brown said, it's not anybody else said, it's that the federal government said it in their own journal.
Right.
And there's the evidence. So, but I found other, that's as some people might say, but wait, there's more,
Right.
So I found speeches that the director was giving. He would travel the country, and he, in the speech, because he wrote the speech down and have copies of the speech in the National Archive, his name was Corin Fergus. So Director Fergus would basically go, he had in Cleveland, he would give a speech saying, hey, I brought the maps with me. You can take a look after I finish. And, he had, in the speech, it has show them in parentheses. So he's saying, I'm bringing the maps with me. He's showing them when he goes to talk to life insurance folks, real estate. He's talking to different industries. He's sharing the maps. He's letting them know this is what we're doing. So we're color coding. He's letting them know we're color coding these neighborhoods, red, yellow, blue, and green. And in blue and green neighborhoods, you can lend liberally. You can make sure people have home loans and they can have good, nice, low interest rates. But in those red and yellow communities, watch out, because you got certain people who live there. In the yellow community might be immigrants. In the red community, Native American, African American. And if those people are there, they represent a security risk. And we want, as the federal government, we're letting you know that these are areas that you shouldn't lend. Or if you do lend in those communities, then you lend differently. So that sets up subprime loans, or what some people call predatory lending.
Right.
So if financial institutions are going to lend in those areas, that's where you're going to end up with predatory lending.
Wow. And so not only did it lead to I could say like the ghettoization of where we were living, but now that created what? That starts to create that wealth gap, right? Where now they're able to have homes in different areas. They're building up equity, things like that. Please go into it, Doc.
Absolutely. Well, that was only one federal agency. You have another federal agency called the Federal Housing Administration, the FHA.
Right.
So the FHA, they engage in underwriting, which is basically guaranteeing the loan. So they didn't offer the loan, the bank did that. But if the person with the mortgage, the home owner, if they didn't finish paying their loan, if their home was foreclosed, then the federal government would step in and pay the loan and make sure that the bank was whole. That's underwriting.
Right.
So, or at least the FHA underwriting. So the FHA, they would underwrite loans for suburbs that were being built outside of our major cities across the country. Right. So I don't know if anyone's able to pull up the FHA underwriting manual, but we could see in the FHA underwriting manual from 1936, the same year, apparently they were very busy that year.
Right.
You can see in the FHA underwriting manual language that they were using to say which neighborhoods are going to get loans and which neighborhoods wouldn't get loans. Right. So in the middle, the bottom middle, you'll be able to see, and they're flashing through some of those other redlining maps.
Here you go.
As well. But yeah, that paragraph right there, yes, right, if you zoom in a little bit more, that is a very powerful language. Yes. Okay. So
we're gonna read that right now.
It continues from the bottom of the page
the top
before.
Part?
Maybe that's a better place to start.
All right.
You want me to start it?
No, you want to? Yeah, there you go. Right. Y'all go too high.
Just at the bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah, the bottom left is where it starts.
Right, there you go. Yep.
But if you see right there, the top is you see Federal Housing Administration.
Yes.
The title page is there. You go.
Yep.
Federal. So FHA under, or if you go down or scroll up where you can see the top of that,
Yeah,
just so
scroll up
people
we
can see
the scroll up so we can see
the title of the document,
right?
Underwriting manual. There you
Right.
go. So now if you go to the bottom, you'll be able to get to the start of that quote. But this is the FHA's underwriting manual. So we talked about the Federal Home Loan Bank Board before, and this document, you're seeing the criteria for underwriting for guaranteeing loans by the FHA.
Hey, let's start there where it says deed restrictions.
Okay. 228. Deed restrictions are apt to prove more effective than a zoning ordinance in providing protection from adverse influences. Where the same deed restrictions apply over a broad area, and where these restrictions relate to type of structures used to which improvements may be put and racial occupancy.
Wow. So right there, they're showing you that this thing is about race. Like they're telling you racial occupancy because they want to keep this separated. Right? Go ahead, y'all.
Right. Well, and what is a deed? A deed is the covenant to the house.
That's right.
So when you buy the house, the housing covenant, your house covenant or house deed has these stipulations. You got to keep the yard cut, keep the shrubs trimmed, keep the driveway clean. And oh, by the way, when you sell the home, you can't sell to any Negroes or colored people.
Right.
So that's the racial occupancy. That's the language they're referring to. So a lot of those housing covenants or housing deeds would restrict who the homeowner could sell the house to. And often the language would say, not just that you couldn't sell it to any Negro or colored, which is what black people were known at that time. It may even say something like only someone of the Caucasian race can be the person who's going to buy this home. So this is the language that was in the home deed, and that's what they're talking about. Who can occupy this house as an owner of the house? That language was in millions of deeds across the country, and the FHA is standing behind that.
Right. And this is all the way back then, right? Still around 1936, like you said, they were very busy, right? Not only that, but isn't that still in the documentation today? Because I think something came on the news not too long ago, I want to say a couple years back, where somebody had their deed and it still had that verbiage in there. I think it was Levittown, right? I think so. I think I saw something like that.
Absolutely, yeah. The language, because the Supreme Court ruled that the clauses, those racially restrictive clauses, it ruled them unenforceable in 1948, a case called Shelly versus Kramer.
Right.
So it said those clauses can no longer be enforced, but it didn't say take them out. So every now and then you find there's a news story that comes up where somebody's like, oh my God, this language is in my house deed. Yes, the Supreme Court didn't tell nobody to take it out. It's still there. So yes, people still, when they look at it, can find that nasty language.
Yep. Okay. Hey, let's go right back to the FHA thing again. I want the parts that are underlined all the way in the bottom of that paragraph. Post that back, because I know some good stuff in there. Hey, y'all, can y'all get that back on the screen, please?
And as that's coming, I should say the part that was read earlier, you hear they're talking about adverse influences. As a matter of fact, that's the title of this section of the manual.
Okay.
They're very concerned about adverse influences. And so the question we're asking as we read this is, well, what or who are considered adverse influences in this document?
Right.
All right. It must be realized that deed restrictions, to be effective, social groups are present to the end that an intelligent prediction may be made regarding the possibility or probability of the location being invaded by such groups.
Invaded. It said invaded by such groups, the adverse groups. Read on.
If a neighborhood is to retain stability, it is necessary that properties shall continue to be occupied by the same social and racial classes.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
A change in social or racial occupancy generally leads to instability and a reduction in values.
Wow.
The protection offered against adverse changes. I can't see that part right there.
Yeah, just scroll up, y'all. There you go.
Okay. A change in social or racial occupancy generally leads to instability and reduction in values. The protection offered against adverse changes should be found adequate before a high rating is given to this feature.
Right. So when it says the protection offered against adverse, talk to us a little about that last piece right there.
Yeah, so they had a form that graded or appraised a neighborhood. So they're saying you can't get a high value in this neighborhood to receive federal underwriting if this is a neighborhood that's being invaded by certain social and racial groups, and if there's instability. So, or if there's even the forecast, if there's even the possibility that this stigmatized, racialized group might just come into this community, which is homogenous and all white, if there's a probability that they might come into this community and make it unstable, then this neighborhood cannot receive a high grade. And if it doesn't receive a high grade, it's not getting our underwriting, which means a bank is not going to finance those houses being built for home buyers who would be moving into those communities. So what you would find is that the FHA did not underwrite in red and yellow communities. So people in those communities, oftentimes banks weren't going to finance those houses. And so you mentioned it earlier, that leads to the ghettoization, this process of creating ghettos, process of creating what were called then slums, and the process of intensifying poverty. That is what they are saying. And that's the implication of what they're saying there.
Right. And so basically, it behooved those white people in those neighborhoods to keep the black people out. Even if you just live there, you don't have the power, let's say, of the government, but you knew already that was spoken that, hey, if they come in here, and that's what's important about what we read just now is that's how the devaluing happens. Not because black people are coming in, it's because the finances are not going to be there to keep giving mortgages to the white people. That's why the value is going to come down, right? So it's amazing stuff, man. It's great. Hey, Cap, you have something?
Yeah, because I was just thinking about it. Our people had all the credentials they needed to pass the whatever forms they had to fill out. They had the money, they had all that, but they still was being held out because of their color. Right. Because they was black, they couldn't get the finances from the institutions that were supporting the green areas. Right. Even though they had the money, they had the credit, or they had the finance and everything they needed to be able to afford the home, but they couldn't get it because they was black.
Right. And just to ask, Doc, piggybacking off of what Captain Hananiah was saying, basically, those black families and those white families had similar incomes at that time. It wasn't like they were, they were making like $50,000 more than the black family. They were pretty much kind of even from what I could see. And then they kind of built them into this, strong financial powerhouse that they are today, so to speak,
Absolutely. I mean, I think Captain Hananiah is absolutely correct to the point that sometimes black families, when they would move into these communities, because that was in the 1930s when those document was written, that document was written, the FHA underwriting manual. But by the 50s and 60s, a lot of times the color line in different communities began to break down, process called white flight. You had a lot of white people leaving the inner city, moving to the suburbs, in large part because they're getting those FHA loans to go out there that black people aren't going to get. That's right. So they're able to leave and go to the suburbs. Black people are beginning to move, middle-class black folks, they have the money, they have the credentials to move into some of those neighborhoods, and it was a process called blockbusting, or that's what realtors would call it, to get black families, if black families were moving to a formerly all-white block. But when they moved in, when that black family moved in, they actually had to pay more, oftentimes, to obtain that home that the white family had left. So back then, the home values were totally different. Let's say a house cost then $20,000. For the white family who left, the blockbuster real estate agents, they would charge the black family $25,000. So that's what you call the black tax. That black family, they had the money and then they were surcharged and they had to pay more to move into that community.
Hey, Dr. Brown, you know how you said they were they were getting loans to move to the suburbs? So if you notice now, a lot of our people are being pushed into the suburbs, and it seems like they are taking the cities back. They're trying to rebuild the cities back. So what do you see the plan is for that? How is that happening? Where we being pushed toward the suburbs? Like in Sacramento, now everybody lives, instead of living in the city, our people live in Natomas, Elk Grove, Rosemont, so on and so forth. And they're building like the notorious neighborhoods out here. Starbucks is there now. They're walking dogs there now. You know, it's prime location for downtown. Right. Yeah. So what are they doing with that?
I just had a thought. We should be saying they're walking the dogs, they're walking the cats.
Right.
Based on what the president was saying about the people in Columbus, Ohio. But right. No, I think, or Springfield. So yeah, I think you're talking about gentrification. Now, gentrification in large part can happen in urban areas because those red line communities, over time, the properties become really cheap. The devaluation that Captain Zakai mentioned earlier. The properties in red line communities become devalued, the prices go down, and then eventually a lot of families that live in the suburbs, they're saying, I don't want to commute. All the restaurants and nice restaurants are in the city. They got nice museums in the city. They got nice little parks in the city. I can walk my dog in the city. If they got all these amenities that are coming, why do I need to live out here? So then you have folks that want to move back into the urban core, and that red line neighborhood, those properties are cheap. So then you can have big banks, capital come in and flip, and essentially they can flip an entire neighborhood and push low income, black, brown, marginalized people out of those neighborhoods. And then you have that process where in 10, 20 years, those red neighborhoods can have a Starbucks or a Whole Foods and those type of amenities in those areas.
So that red area now become green or blue?
Right. There you go.
Yo.
It's a cycle. And so then that blue or green area, if the wealthy, whiter neighborhood, wealthier residents don't want to live there anymore, then even that green or blue community can go into yellow or maybe even red.
That's right.
When, like you said, a lot of folks are being pushed out to those suburbs, because then they become older suburbs and they're not as attractive. The inner city becomes more attractive to a lot of those younger, whiter, wealthier families.
That's right. You know, speaking
especially
of Baltimore,
if the city has a waterfront.
Exactly.
The waterfront properties, that becomes the area that becomes hot market.
Right. And in Baltimore, you know, I spent some time in Baltimore. I didn't live there, but I was always going back and forth to Baltimore. And I remember being down there. I think I spoke to you about it too. The blocks, let's say it's 30 houses on a block. There'd be one family living there, or two, and then the rest of them are boarded up. And that's for blocks, and that was whole neighborhoods. Now, I haven't been in Baltimore City in a good little while now. Is that completely changed? Because I know right around, I want to say maybe 04, 05, it started to try to move a little bit. So I don't know how's it looking over there now. Has it red turned to green?
Well, what you're talking about, so gentrification is one word, but you know the language that's often used now is redevelopment.
There you go.
So you do begin to see in these historically red line communities this newer redevelopment, and we have several of them here. Whether it's one called East Baltimore Development Incorporated, EBDI. You got Park Heights Renaissance in the northwest part of the city in the Park Heights community. You know, you have these Old Town Mall, that area near Johns Hopkins is being redeveloped.
Yes, that's the spot.
So yeah, you have these real estate developers. Again, the land is cheap. because the properties have been devalued. And they're only devalued because of the race of the people who live in those neighborhoods. But once big capital, wealthier, whiter residents and institutions decide we want this area, then they can come in, buy on the cheap. Low income people get pushed out. They may end up in those inner ring suburbs, and then that redevelopment begins to take off, and you begin to see newer, better housing, retail, commercials, commercial institutions in those locations.
Wow. Before we go to the maps, there's something I want to ask you about, right? Because that's one thing. Now, we're coming up to more current times. Now, there's something called, I just want to make sure I don't mess it up. It's like, it's something to do with land. It's called heirs.
Heirs property?
Thank you. You just saved me. Heirs property, right?
Yep.
Can you explain because when people hear about this, they can't believe this is even a thing. You know what I mean? Please explain that.
Well, I'm not an expert on that, but to my limited understanding, that happens. Heirs properties are often involving black farmers. So rural communities, oftentimes, the black farmer passes away. He's left his farm, his property, to his heirs, to his descendants, children, grandchildren. And what happens, there's a great book just published last year called The Black Tax by Andrew Carl, and some of his other work too. But he talks about, and other scholars, Pete Daniels, his book Dispossession. But these scholars talk about the way in which black farmers, their descendants lose the property because sometimes they don't know that taxes need to be paid at a certain time. Sometimes those county and city, those rural jurisdictions, they don't send out the bill. They don't send out the notification. So then people have no way of knowing what they owe, when they owe it. And so then through heirs property sort of machinations over time, a lot of that property ends up being confiscated and lost to black heirs. And that's happened to a lot of black farmers.
Exactly. And we'll go into it a little bit later. So Doc, do you want to start going into your maps a little bit, or dealing with you? Let us know what you want. We'll bring
sure. I mean, you should have the map of Sacramento so you could see.
Okay.
I'm sure communities and locations that you recognize right there.
Well, there you go.
That's the Federal Home Loan Bank Board's map. And there was an agency under them called the Homeowners Loan Corporation, HULC. So this is their map for Sacramento. And it color codes, just like it did 238 other cities across the country. It color codes communities by their worthiness for bank lending. So red and yellow communities, not very worthy or not worthy at all. In the case of red, blue and green, very worthy. Come and get your money if you lived in blue and green.
Come and get your money. This is crazy. Hey, so I saw one with Oakland, post Oakland, because when you go into Oakland now, like, before Oakland was that, that flagship black revolutionary city that anybody would want to come to and be like, oh, I want to be a part of Oakland. You get to Oakland, and now it's just like totally depressed. I mean, it seems like it's not even, I mean, there's probably one nice little section of Oakland left, but like the rest of it is just depressed,
Absolutely.
Now, just for anybody who doesn't know Oakland, so now you got Berkeley, Alameda, San Leandro. This is all part of Oakland. But when you think of Oakland, where our people are at, it's probably just all red. It's massively
And
red.
the other thing about redlining is that, this was when they were first drew these maps. That was the mid to late 1930s. So that's the middle of the Great Migration. A lot of black people, as you just alluded to, Captain Zakai, they're arriving from the South. They're going to the North, cities like Philadelphia, New York, Chicago. Right. They're going out West, Oakland, San Francisco, LA, Phoenix. So you have this great migration. About 6 million black people leave the Deep South between 1910 and 1970.
Wow.
So this massive, massive migration, black folks leaving the South, they're arriving in these cities, and then they're arriving in red, mostly red and maybe yellow neighborhoods where their neighborhoods are starved of capital.
100%. You know what? I was just thinking about that because if you're in these red line neighborhoods, that means you get lower jobs, lower education, bad food, bad health care. All them things come along with all that. So it's just not the residential and real estate, but everything else come with that is at a lower level for the people that live there in them red line cities, especially jobs. You know, they got to go outside the red line area to get a decent job to take care of their families.
Well, yeah, 100% cap. And majority of them red line neighborhoods, like you were saying, that's where all of the Planned Parenthoods is at.
Right.
That's where all of the liquor stores are. It ain't no Whole Foods in them areas.
Not at all.
It's he absolutely 100% right, man. It's crazy.
If they can do that to the housing, they can do that to the job market. You know what I'm saying? Like certain jobs that you can and can't get, you know, desirable people are going to get. Like when you look at the history of construction, black people were heavy in construction, but now it's all whites. You know what I'm saying? They run construction when that was our trades. You know, so and how that happened, we don't quite know. How did we get red line? We don't quite know. We just out here experiencing it, and it's making sense when you see the maps. It's like, oh, okay, well, you know, that's where the loans is going. This is how we got here.
No, absolutely. And but just to let you, oh yes, got you. And so Doc, please let's get to your. I was gonna go into something, but I want to jump onto your comic book that you put together. Can we touch that a little bit?
Before I get to that, I just want to mention I've also created a board game called Urban Cipher. This is the one for Baltimore. Okay. I actually just came out with one for Oakland, my first West Coast city.
Oh, there you go.
So that's the game I mentioned earlier. I am producing it, and we're now getting that out there. So it's a game. It's simulating what it means to be a red, yellow, blue, or green player in those neighborhoods. And like I say, the game is rigged. So it's an educational board game.
Hey, you can put it back up. Do you have a website for it already? Oh, there you go. Oh, we got it. We found it.
There it is. That's the one that's shown now. That's the one for Atlanta. So I'm creating ones for different cities so people can see, their own neighborhoods, their own city, and I include the map, the redlining map for those cities, for each city in the game, so that when you finish the game, you can pull out the map. You and your friends, you and your colleagues, you and your students can really examine, okay, we played a game, but this is how it looks in real life.
Yeah, it's excellent. We're gonna have to order a couple of those. Yeah, definitely. Definitely gonna grab the Oakland one. You know what I mean? But we're gonna get all of them just for it to ride out and for us to learn. But let's get into your. If you have time, let's get into your.
Yeah. So basically, this is the comic book called Journey and the Abolition Democracy. And it's basically, again, it's an educational comic book. Follows a 15-year-old black girl. Her name is Journey. There's the flyer right there. So this is in the future, the year 2064, almost 40 years from now. And, she goes to school, her and her brother Justice, they go to school, and she gives a speech about everything we just talked about. She gives a speech about the Great Migration and redlining. So I wanted to create this for, middle school students, high school students, and even adults who love comics to get this information, because everybody's not going to read the type of 386-page book that I wrote before, heavy narrative. Thankful for the people who did, because that sold 10,000. So I'm not saying nobody read it, but I think this could sell, 10,000 or 20, even more, which is great, because I think the idea is like getting the word out and making sure people have a clear understanding of this information.
Right, absolutely. And where's that? Is that available right now?
Yes, I just actually received the order. I ordered 750 copies. They're on that same website that you saw before, which is basically part of the Black Butterfly Dream Lab. That's the name of the company that I work through, that I started and that I'm working through. Okay. And so, through the Dream Lab, we're putting these educational tools, comic books, and board games together so that people, especially our young people, can learn this information.
Okay, and so this Black Butterfly, what is
Dream
it?
Lab.
Dream Lab. So is that? So you started this. Are you guys going to be constantly coming up with more and more learning tools? Are you accepting ideas from the outside? Talk to us a little bit about that, because that sounds interesting.
Yes, absolutely. I'm definitely open to ideas if there's a collab or something that can make sense. But as of now, I guess I call myself the chief creative officer. So, I guess my mind is just constantly thinking about, how can I put this out in a way that people can more readily access, more readily grab onto. And because I think, if we're going to make the difference that we need to change our neighborhoods, we need to understand why things are the way they are. Why are our neighborhoods, as the officers and the captains that spoke earlier, why do they have the liquor stores? Why do they have the dollar stores instead of the grocery stores? Why do they have the pollution facilities, the toxic release sites? Why is all of that in these neighborhoods but not in other neighborhoods? This will provide the evidence, and through learning and through creative learning, this provides the evidence of how it all took place. So now we know this is how we need to move. This is how we need to advocate. This is how we need to push to make red line Black neighborhoods matter.
Yeah. They do them type of things in our neighborhoods because they know we them guys, man. Yeah. They know we the people. They know we God's chosen people. Give me Wisdom of Solomon 2 and 10 right quick.
Yeah, but you're gonna read something for you real quick.
I gotta read this.
We're gonna read you a couple things before you go, because I know
Yes,
we can't hold you too long. But we're gonna read a couple things before you go.
Wisdom of Solomon 2 and 10, please.
This is the book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 2 and verse 10.
Come on.
Let us oppress the poor righteous man.
Uh-huh.
Let us not spare the widow, nor reverence the ancient gray hairs of the aged.
Uh-huh.
Let our strength be the law of justice.
Let our strength be in the law of justice. Let our strength be in the federal law. And with what they do is they come and they just they oppress our people. They know who we are. They put us in these red cities to keep us in sin and to keep us as the consumers, but to empower and back their neighborhoods. That's the type of stuff that go on.
Right.
I probably shouldn't have started there, but that's they doing that.
Dr. Brown, what do you think prior to desegregation? How were we faring with red areas and yellow areas prior to that?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's a great question. In large part, Black neighborhoods were stronger and more economically viable. Number one, because Black people couldn't live anywhere else, so you had middle income, high income, and low income all living together.
Right.
So you had more economic unity.
Right.
Before, once desegregation took place, those wealthier Black people, they could leave, so that left a lot of lower income folks concentrated in one place.
That makes sense.
Right.
So that's one side, but the other thing is, we've been talking a lot about segregation, but you also had a lot of programs and policies that uprooted and forced a lot of Black communities, split them apart. So you're talking about highways that are being built through red line Black neighborhoods.
Robert
You're
Moses.
talking about urban renewal projects that come in and they clear out a lot of African Americans. So you have like all these federal and local programs that just uproot, hundreds of thousands of Black families in the 50s, 60s, and 70s that really ripped Black neighborhoods apart.
Right.
So I think between losing the wealthier part of our community and then also having these programs that are just uprooting Black neighborhoods left and right, that ended up tearing Black neighborhoods apart.
Hey, Doc, you know what? It's great that what Officer Judah brought out, right? About how were we faring before? Because when we look back at that time, our families were stronger.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
We had marriages up to like 80-something% at that time.
Yeah.
Right? We had good wealth. You had, just going into I'm just using sports as an example, you had the Negro leagues, right? We had our own league, right? Everybody, let's say the game was on a Sunday, everybody would shut down their shops and go to the game to make sure that financially all the money was flowing.
Right.
Then they would go to the restaurants. It was a family thinking type of situation, right? As soon as we got integrated with these people, right, that's when everything started going downhill for us.
Yeah.
Previous to that, we were as strong as we could be. You know what I mean? We had all our black Wall Streets got destroyed. We didn't even get a chance to talk about the flooded towns, right? That was probably even before they started coming up in 1936 with all their, FHAs and different things. That was the way to flood the towns, more, how can I say, without the violence, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
And so these are all of the different tools they were using, right? But that segregation, that desegregation is kind of what killed us. I'm gonna read something for you real quick. This is in the Bible, Leviticus chapter 20 and verse 26, right? Go ahead, read that.
It's the book of Leviticus, chapter 20 and verse 26. And ye shall be holy unto me.
So he's talking about the Israelites. He's saying, the Israelites, you are holy unto me. What? Go ahead.
For I, the Lord, am holy.
Go ahead.
And have severed you from the other people.
Right. He said, I have severed you from other people, meaning he wanted us to be separated from these other people because we have a whole other way of life, right? And that's when we're at our best, at our strength. Go ahead.
That ye should be mine.
We good there, right? So, listen, we're not probably going to get back to that. That's never going to go back again, right? Because they have us where they want us. Right. But in reality, what we need to do is gather ourselves together back as a people, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Even if we're not supposedly like moving into the same neighborhoods, like you said, you're 40 miles outside of, guess Baltimore City itself, whatever. I might not move to where you're at, but when we have the same understanding, the same mentality, listen, you might like a different car than me. We ain't worried about that. Different shirts, we don't care about that. But when we have the same belief system, we have the same understanding, that's how we can still flourish as a people.
Right.
You know? Cap, you want to say something? You good?
I was just saying, with Dr. Brown bringing out is some heavy stuff because a lot of the youth, they don't read, they don't understand what redlining is about. So the comic book, the games, and we got to find many other different ways we can reach the young people so they can be in tune with understanding about the red line and the conditions they living in and how they got there and how we going to fix ourselves to be able to somehow not get all the way out of it, but better our communities. So that's the good stuff you bringing out, Dr. Brown. We got to find more ways to reach the young people who's disconnected from the 30s, the 40s, the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s. Right. And today we got to find ways to bring them back to understand what this redlining is about, why we're in the conditions we in, and how we got to find some way to come together to try to better our communities where we living in.
Yep. And we and we deal. And I'm sorry, Dr. Brown. I'm gonna let you speak. Because we deal with a lot of the youth out there in that area, youth violence seminars, so on and so forth, Baltimore, Virginia, the DMV area, right? And so I think, like, with your games and stuff, it might be good to kind of incorporate that. You know what I'm saying? And try to get them into understanding not only, because what we do is teach them, why are you getting violent with each other, right? But now when they see the big picture, you understand that's part of it, So that's like you said, Cap, that's an excellent tools you have there, But go ahead, Doctor, I'm sorry.
No. I'm leaving momentarily to go to a celebration of life for a colleague who passed away.
All right.
But I just want to let you know I really, really enjoyed this conversation.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share my work. And if I may, I want to leave with a scripture that's very important to me as well.
Please.
Yes, so this is from Isaiah 61:4.
Sounds good already.
Says, and they shall rebuild the old ruins. They shall raise up the former desolations, and they shall repair the ruined cities, the desolations of many generations. So I think that's really powerful because that scripture is talking about cities. It's talking about the cities that have been wasted, ruined, cities, Baltimore and Oakland, we're like sister cities in terms of deindustrialization, lots of capital that has left our cities, leaving people to fend for themselves. But I love this scripture because it's saying that we can rebuild the old ruins. We can repair the broken cities.
And that broken city that is talking about us. That we rebuild ourselves. You know what I'm saying? That glorious city once again, Zion, the people. You know what I'm saying? The people of Israel. Because a lot of people don't know that we are the Hebrews of the Bible. We are those people, right? That's not even nothing to argue about. So we're going to rebuild. But Doc, we don't want to hold you. We know you got to go. Thank you for your time and righteous, and being gracious with your time. Lord's will, maybe sometime, maybe some months down, we're gonna get back into this topic again. We would love to have you.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
There's a lot
Appreciate
still
you.
Thank you.
that need to be touched.
All
Some
praise.
good stuff. Hey, thank
Yes,
you
sir.
again, Dr. Brown.
Thank you.
Thank you for
Thank
coming
you,
on to the
brother.
show, man.
Yes, sir.
My pleasure. Thank you all so much. Keep up the great work.
Thank you.
Hey,
You as
Cap,
well. Yes, sir. What you got?
This some heavy stuff right here,
Man.
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 This some real heavy stuff. Because when you get to looking at the maps, put the maps back up there. When you get to looking at the map on each city, especially where we at, it's like, damn. Like, put Oakland's back up. It don't look. If you go to Oakland right now, everything's red.
Yeah,
No,
bright,
for real.
bright red.
Everything is bright red in Oakland right now, and it's because
talk.
of the snares and traps that they put up on our people after it became a black revolutionary city.
Right.
Go to Psalms 83 right quick.
And then we're gonna get into some of these little videos and so forth where we got articles and things, and we're gonna keep this conversation going because if we would have kept Dr. Brown longer, it would have got real crazy.
Oh
yeah, I
for sure.
could tell.
Yeah, it was about to be
I was
crazy.
like, man,
Because Doc got a lot of information. He would have been able to comment on all this what we about to go through in a little while, y'all.
oppression was making the wise man mad over here. Cap.
And that's why I said these conversations are needed.
Yeah.
Because a lot of our people is not in tune with really going on around them.
That's right.
So we, as the Israelites, we as IUIC, we as the Nehemiah Squad is bringing out these things to the people who've been lacking this knowledge that been hidden from them. Now the Most High is bringing it out for us to be more aware of how we got to come together and better our communities as the Israelites.
That's right. 100%.
I like that whole chapter he pulled. He put a good verse out
Yeah.
of
Oh,
Isaiah
man,
61,
that's
but
good.
that whole chapter is talking about,
Yes. Yeah,
you know,
that
that's
chapter's
good
crazy.
stuff right there.
Yeah.
We're going to have to touch that a little bit later.
Yeah.
For sure,
thing's
for
beautiful.
sure.
Well, go ahead, y'all.
It's
Yeah.
the book of Psalms, chapter 83, verse 1.
Yep.
Keep not thou silence, O God. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O God.
Come on.
For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head.
You see that God has enemies. He said our enemies, they have a tumult, meaning angry gatherings.
Why is the camera not on?
on
Officer shit?
cap?
What you looking at me for?
These guys are crazy, man.
Go ahead.
Yo,
He was taking notes.
I
Go ahead.
forgot my train of thought.
Go ahead, read that again. Read it again.
Yeah, please read it again.
Verse 2. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head.
They lift up their head in pride. Go ahead, read on.
They have taken crafty counsel.
They have taken crafty counsel against our people. So, like in them red neighborhoods, you see, like we spoke about earlier, you see all the Planned Parenthoods, you see all the liquor stores, you see all of the cannabis shops, you see all of the tent cities. These are all in red neighborhoods, and they put that there purposely. Like in the what was that? The 80s, they dropped crack off in the neighborhoods.
Right.
Guns and crack, and they knew what was gonna happen. They knew it was gonna turn into a war zone in the streets of Oakland.
That's right.
They knew that the Panthers was gonna turn.
Hey, in the
against
streets of
themselves.
America.
That's
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
In the streets of America.
Yes.
Not just Oakland is a part of it, but all America, they did the same thing to all America.
Absolutely, 100% right, Cap.
You
Read
see-
up.
go ahead. No.
Go ahead.
No, like Cap was saying, every city, the more I travel to, every city that I've been to, the same thing is happening.
Yep.
Gentrification is happening.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like everywhere. Everywhere.
Hey, and to go back to them, they got that highway or that railway or whatever you
Yeah.
cross
Yeah.
is the difference between the ghetto and the suburbs. The good places and the bad places. The only thing you got to do is cross the tracks.
Yep.
And you see a whole new way of living on that side of the tracks.
Real talk.
The hell is this?
I had a scripture real quick.
Yes, sir.
Please.
You got Psalms 64?
Yep.
You was going to bring that out, Cap?
No. Go ahead.
All right, give me Psalm 64. Start at 2 real quick.
Yes, sir.
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 64, and verse 2. Hide me from the secret counsel of the wicked.
So he said, hide me from the secret counsels of the wicked, of the wicked. Go ahead.
From the insurrection of the workers of iniquity,
The man of sin, come on.
Esau.
who whet their tongue like a sword.
That's what they do. They come together like the video Cat played at the beginning. They sitting at the table looking over a blueprint, showing how they're going to redline us and keep us out keep us away from the financial benefits that we could be able to get in our communities. They kept us out and redline us. Come on.
And bend their bows to shoot their arrows, even bitter words.
That's what they did. They came up with a plan and followed it, kept it. Come on.
That they may shoot in secret at the poor.
We shoot in secret at the perfect.
Excuse me. That they
We
may
are
shoot,
the perfect.
Right.
Come on.
That
Read
they
that
may
again.
shoot in secret at the perfect.
So we are the perfect they shot in secret at. Come on.
Suddenly do they shoot at him, and fear not.
They ain't have no fear on separating us, redlining us, keeping us out of the benefits, keeping us out of the good areas, keeping us out of the grants and the good way of living. Come on.
They encourage themselves in an evil matter.
That was evil what they did. That's evil what they doing. Putting us in projects. Like you said, putting us in 10 cities. When they got the money, they could better the community, fix the community. They refuse to do it to keep their side good and keep us down because, like he said earlier, like the officer said earlier, they know that we are them people. Right. They know we are the Israelites. Come on.
They commune of laying snares privily.
They set traps for us, privily, behind closed doors. The secret counsel of the wicked he was just talking about in Psalms 83. Come on.
They say, who shall see them?
They said nobody going to see them. Come on.
They search out iniquities. They accomplish a diligent search.
They accomplish a diligent search. They search out sin. How can we keep them down?
Exactly.
How can we keep them away from the money? How can we give them pennies to be able to survive? To keep their head just barely above water. Come on.
Both the inward thought of every one of them and the heart is deep.
They mind, they counsel is deep. They thinking 100 years from now.
Exactly.
We thinking about damn 2 hours from now. They thinking about 100 years from now. How can we keep these Israelites down without them rising back up?
Right.
Come on.
But God shall shoot at them with an arrow.
Uh-huh.
Suddenly shall they be wounded.
God going to shoot at them with the arrow and they going to be wounded. Come on.
So they shall make their own tongues.
That's how we found this information out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because in 1936, they was writing it to each other. But God make their own tongues fall back on them. Come on.
To fall upon themselves.
Come on.
All that see them shall flee away.
Everybody see them going to get the hell away from them because they know they are the man of the wicked. They know they are evil and they are wicked people, and everybody going to get the hell away from them.
Straight up.
That's what I want to catch.
That's right.
Straight
All
up.
praises. Yeah, because listen, like you said, they had a long process thinking. 1936. This is 2025. That verbiage is still in the paperwork today.
Yeah.
Now they passed the law to where you can't enforce it, but why would they leave that verbiage in there? Right. Because they still want you to understand who you are. They want you to recognize, no, you under us. That's what we keeping you there. Hey, check this out, y'all. Go to pull up the video number 9. Pull up number 9 and start at, let me see. Start at 3 minutes and 30 seconds. All right? 3 minutes and 30 seconds. And it was funny because what we just read in Psalm 64, talking about evil, right? We about to see Esau call his own self evil. Not in this part, but we're going to move forward. But play 3:30, go ahead. Play that.
Is it?
Heirs property is communal type property.
All right, pause. So now this is what I brought up to Dr. Brown before about the heirs property. All right, so now it's being explained, it's being shown on the display so we can actually get a visual of what we're hearing, right? Go ahead.
Where your ancestors would have purchased the land, and once they passed away, it transfers to the next generation and their descendants. It's fractional ownership, a property that could be owned by 200 people. Any one of those heirs could sell their percentage. That new owner can go to the court and say, well, we can't agree on how to manage this land.
And force the rest of the folk to sell it even if they don't want to?
Yes. And so it was essential for us to move it out of heirs property status. And that process costs from probate to title clearing close to about $10,000.
Wait, so
All right,
you
pause. So now here it is, right? Your family, you had a relative own some property, left it to you and however many people. One of your relatives say, you know what, I don't want to hold this no more. They sell it. That new person who comes in got nothing to do with you says, hey, why don't y'all sell it to me? Y'all like, no, I don't want to do that. one person might say, no, I don't want to do that, and so on and so forth. Then he can go to the court and press the court to make you sell the whole thing to him, right? So that's what's happening to our people as well, down in the South and all of that. That's what Dr. Brown was talking about in terms of farmland. I want you to now push ahead. So now, no, and to get it out of that heirs property status, you got to spend about 10 grand to make sure that does not happen. But how many people going to have $10,000 like that? Right. And not only that, but the family members are divided on what they want to do anyway. So if I want to do this one ain't going to give me the money. This one going to hold this back. So while that drama going on, here come Esau creeping, right? And snatch out the property for them.
With the crafty counsel, Cap.
With the crafty counsel, absolutely. Right. Suddenly do they shoot at the perfect, right? So, hey, fast forward to 11 minutes and 30 seconds, right? So now she gave us an example of what it is, right? Now what we're looking at right here, just take it back just a touch, take it back just a touch, right? What we're looking at right here is the actual auction for a said property as what was just described, right? Now, when you look in the room, there's two people in the room, the brother who's doing the interview, and there's only one man there. He's bidding against himself. You can't make it up. Go ahead, hit play.
LLC versus
it's two people.
Maurice Hunter et al. The minimum acceptable bid is $2,294.25. The floor is now open for bids. Do I hear a bid?
A bid cost.
Okay. $2,294.25 is sold.
Right. So hit pause for a second. So y'all heard that, right? $2,294. I believe that's what it was, right? Now we about to hear what he spent that $2,294 on. Hit play.
Just stick your name right there.
This man bidding against himself. You can't.
Morning, Jim.
Morning.
How you doing?
Fine.
What just happened today here?
Well, I bought an interest in a piece of land, an undivided interest. You know, when it's inherited and there's a lot of heirs. I owned 24 acres out of the 52.
Before today you did?
Yes.
And now you came and purchased the rest. How much have you paid in total for 52 acres?
I would have to add that up.
Pause. Human lies. Right. Human lies. So basically, he don't want to say that he just paid that money to get power over the other half of the acreage that he didn't have, right? So the man owned 24 acres out of 52. Now he walked in there, paid $2,300, and now he's got power over the entire thing.
That's a good
all right?
deal.
You can't. Of course, it's a great deal.
Yeah.
But listen to this. Watch this.
Don't get me wrong. I do a lot of these, and I can't keep them all in my head.
How does heirs property fit into your overall business model?
To be truthful with it, it's probably 90% of my business model.
That man said his real estate business is 90% snatching other people's property.
Damn.
Right? So in order for you to do this, you know you got to be crafty. You have to go in there like a little snake, because you got to be able to go to all the members and say, hey, man, don't you want to sell yours? She don't want to sell it. This is a demon right here. But hit play. You're going to hear him say something. Go ahead.
Back to the Civil War. We're doing something that the people in Civil War had it. I mean, they were slaves, and they had it. And I've had other landowners come to me and say, well, would you file a lawsuit for me and do this? Because I don't want to be the bad guy. You be the bad guy because you already been the bad guy. You do this all the time. I'll be the bad guy.
You recognize that what you're doing is perceived.
You look at me as evil.
No, I don't know. No.
See, hey, whoa. You heard that? He said you already perceived that what you're doing is foul.
Right.
He said, I'm the bad guy. He said, okay, you already the bad guy, so what you seeing, you know what you're doing is wrong. Oh, you look at me evil. No, you are evil.
Right. And then laugh.
He said, you look at me hateful. You
Right.
are hateful.
That's why he said, that's why the scripture brought out that their tongue falls on them.
Yeah.
Not only in the words that was written, but in their literal tongues. He know what he doing is foul.
Yeah.
We good right there. Give me Micah chapter 2, and then I'm gonna give it to you.
And you know what's heavy? That's how we got that the handwriting that Dr. Brown brung out.
Right.
Because that was their tongue writing them things. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
I was right there.
Absolutely.
Micah chapter 2 verse 1.
Yep.
Woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds.
Right.
When they practice, when the morning is light, they practice it.
Go ahead.
Because it is in the power of their hand.
Right. So Woe to them that devise iniquity, devise sin. That's what we read about in Psalms 64, Psalms 83. That what? They're devising. They're thinking about this thing all night long, all night long. That's why it says what? And work evil upon their beds. That's when they're thinking about it all the time. When the morning is light, they practice it. When daytime come, they get to the office. Hey, write that up. The FHA, write that up. It's 1936 now, yo. Write that. Boom. Put this here. Put this here. This is what they're doing. Read on.
The hell is this?
Because it's in the power of their hand. That's what we read in Wisdom of Solomon chapter 2. Right? Go ahead.
And they covet fields.
They covet fields. This man was covered in their field. Yeah. He covered in their field. Go ahead.
And take them by violence.
And they were taking them by violence, like when they flooded all of our neighborhoods and them towns that we had, right? That was by violence, or they just ran them out, killed people, and took over, right? Go ahead.
And houses, and take them away.
Go ahead.
So they oppress a man and his house.
They oppress a man and his house. Go ahead.
Even a man and his heritage.
Even a man and his heritage. Why? Because they take away that piece of land that was coming through what? That family line that they all had a piece to. Now he's snatched up the heritage and everything based on some laws they set up in order for them to steal. You can't make it up.
Yeah, hey, Cap. And you know he went in there and immediately caused division.
Oh,
right.
100%.
Immediately.
100%.
He caused envying and wraths and murmurings to go on so he could slide up in there and get their land for $3,000.
Yeah. I like this in Daniel. Daniel 8 and 23. Start at 21 so you can see who it is.
It's the book of Daniel, chapter 8 and verse 21.
Uh-huh.
And the rough goat is the king of Grecia.
The Grecians who became the Romans, who became the British, who became the United States of America, right? Jump down to verse 23.
Verse 23. And in the latter time of their kingdom.
In the latter time, so not here, but in the latter times where we live in right now, read.
When the transgressors are come to the full, a king of fierce countenance and understanding dark sentences shall stand up.
Read on.
And his power shall be mighty, but not by his own power. And he shall destroy wonderfully.
Right, he gonna destroy wonderfully. God set this man up, but he gonna destroy wonderfully. You remember, Cap, how you was talking about we just read a scripture say they take lands by violence, but now when they get more crafty, say so we can hide ourselves better. How can we do this without being out front the devil?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right, like in Exodus when it says we have to deal wisely with these people.
Yes. Yes, it's because the spiritual Egypt. Same thing they did there, deal wisely with the children. Read on.
And he shall destroy wonderfully, and shall prosper and practice.
Read on.
And shall destroy the mighty and the holy people.
We are mightier than they, right? Just as the same thing we read in Exodus 1 and I think it's 9, right? Read on.
And through his policy.
No more through the sword. Now it's policy.
Right.
Now it's law, right? Now I can write a little policy. So if I buy a piece of your land and we don't agree, now we can auction and bid for the rest of it. Right. Knowing you don't got no money, read.
Right.
Also, he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand.
Crafty little policies, crafty little redlining, so on and so forth, read.
Right.
And he shall magnify himself in his heart.
Read on.
And by peace shall destroy many.
By desegregation, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
By gentrification.
Right.
That's going to destroy us way worse when we were separated and forced to deal with each other. Yep. Read on.
And he shall also stand up against the prince of princes, but he shall be broken without hand.
That's what we waiting on.
Right. All praises.
Now, that's some good stuff.
Yeah.
You know, that's hit me because, you know, and we know the scripture tell us about them and how they have courageous practices. You understand?
That's right.
To go and take another man's property. You understand?
Yep.
This is some real evil, man, but that's some good stuff. Hey, let me get one real quick. Habakkuk 2 and 10.
Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 10. Thou hast consulted shame to thy house by cutting off many people.
They cut off many people because the houses, that was an inheritance that was given from their forefathers.
That's right.
It's supposed to have been going down the line, but he bought 24 acres, he said.
Yeah.
Then he bought the rest of it. And the black brother sitting there at the auction, And he seen what happened, and he had to ask him, what just happened? 'Cause nobody here with you.
Right.
Why you can't just go buy the property? Why you have to sit there and act like you auctioning
Right.
to get this property? The only thing you had to do was just sign the papers from the beginning because they was all in coherence together.
Yeah, yeah.
The city, him, they're all in coherence. Everybody getting a little piece of money because he paid little or nothing for it.
Right.
Read?
And has sinned against thy soul.
He sinned against his own soul. You understand? He did some evil, wicked act and try to act like he don't know what's going on.
Right.
That's all I want.
Hey, Cap. The almost $3,000 that the dude paid.
Right.
Was the bills that the doctor was saying that they don't even send the families that they got to pay.
Right.
So it's just taxes and bills, and he just came up on land for free.
That's right.
That's all that it was.
Yep. Little tax lien that they could have easily sent to them, and they probably could have came up with that money, no problem.
Yeah.
All right. There was another in that same documentary. There was a family there, right, who they got all the letters. They went, paid everything like normal. There was nothing for them. They went, took it. All of a sudden, boom, their land was gone.
Still.
Yeah, still.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean? Yo, these people, I'm telling you, just demonic on all levels. Hey, pull up video number 6. Pull up video number 6. No, matter of fact, no. Hold on. You know what? Let's drop that for a second. Hold on. I want to get to this other thing. Damn. Where is it at? Number 14. Is that what? Yeah, I want number 14. All right? Number 14, y'all. Pull that up. Right? Because a lot of us know about the projects, right? Public housing and all of that. And you might have in your mind thinking that, hold on, let me give you the time. Let me give you the time before you all right, started at 2 minutes. Don't start yet. But a lot of times we thinking when we hear about the projects, or we all grew up near the projects or in them, we thinking, oh, it's just for the poor people. This man about to come on and give us some game on what actually happened, that it didn't start off like that, but it was a plan. This is crazy. Hey, y'all at 2 minutes? All right, just pull back just a little bit. All right, go ahead.
Is designed to ensure that African Americans and whites could not live near one another, with policies that are so powerful that they still determine the racial landscape that we see in cities all over the country. Just like we have the myth of de facto segregation, we also think we know what public housing is. It's a place where poor people live, where lots of mothers with children, single parents with children, lots of young men without access to jobs in the formal economy, acting out, engaging in oppositional behavior that attracts attention to the police and a cycle of violence that we've seen in so many places.
Pause for a second, y'all. So now he's laying it down because he knows everybody knows what the projects is. Poor people, unwed mothers, right? All of that, crime, right? He's saying adverse behavior, brothers acting out, doing all type of crime for money and whatever risky behavior, right? Go ahead, hit play.
Think of as public housing. But that's not how public housing began in this country. Public housing began in this country as a program for middle-class, working-class families during the Depression.
Hold on. He said middle-class, working-class families.
That's right.
When they pulled them middle-class families out and put them in the suburb, that left the poor. That left no jobs. Like you said, that left crime. Right. That left bad hospital. That left bad supermarket. Everything came with that when they pulled the middle class out. Go ahead.
Well, hold on. But check it out though. Look, everybody in there was middle class. Mm-hmm. So even the black people who was in there was middle class. That's the crazy part. But we won't let them talk. Go ahead.
Poor people were not permitted into public housing.
Damn. Whoa. Hey. We got to stop this like a precept.
Some good stuff right there.
That's crazy. Poor people were not allowed in the projects. Now, every poor person is in the projects.
The hell is this?
Yeah. What the hell is this? Go ahead, hit play.
It was first created. There was a housing shortage, and public housing was created for people who could afford to pay the full rent in housing, and they did in public housing, but for whom there was no housing available. Everywhere, the Public Works Administration and the other federal agencies that succeeded it created segregated public housing, separate projects for African Americans and whites in cities all across the country, frequently segregating neighborhoods that hadn't previously been segregated.
Hold on. So now he's saying that there were some areas that were not segregated, but then what they did, they created the projects for black people and projects for white people. right? They were going to live separately, but they still had the same criteria to be in those projects, right? Remember what they said, middle class and working class, right? Go ahead.
Hey, you know what? News Heavy? Because today they call them condos, condominiums.
Right.
Or in the projects with the black ad, they call them projects.
Right.
You can have the same type of building in the
Yes.
white neighborhood, and they call it condos or condominiums. You see the wordplay, how different they throw that out there like that?
No, Cap, 100%. And in the best way, because being in New York, right, because you could see it there, right? In New York, the buildings are similar, right? So you got big high-rise projects. Then you might have the same type of situation, like you got something called Stuytown, right down on the east side, right? It's like in the 20-something area. It looked exactly like the projects, right? But all they did, they changed the windows, they niced it up inside a little bit, and now you got to pay about good $4,000 a month to live there. Then across the way, not too far, is the projects. It looked exactly the same. You see just a little bit difference in the upkeep.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And our people obviously in the projects, and then you got, Esau and some decent, well-to-do of us over there as well. But go ahead.
Play on.
During World War II, the actions of the government intensified to create segregation. They intensified because throughout the country, hundreds of thousands of workers flocked to centers of defense production, of war production, to take jobs that hadn't existed during the Depression. And the migration of workers into centers of defense production overwhelmed frequently the communities where they were working. The federal government had to build housing for these workers if wanted the ships to be produced. For the African Americans, they built the housing on temporary housing because the explicit goal of the housing was that African Americans after World War II would leave and go back to the South. So they built
Stop, y'all. So now World War II was kicking in, right? Just so nobody get lost. They starting to have production on war machines, right? They need guns, ships, all of that. They're bringing in people to work. Now all the black people are working, so it overwhelmed those cities where that was happening at. So what they did, they built temporary houses for our people to stay, because once that war was over, they were expecting them to go right back down south. And then for Esau, the white man, they gonna have them permanently staying there, right? Go ahead.
Temporary housing for the African Americans along the railroad tracks and near the shipyards, and they built more stable housing for the white migrants in the white residential areas. Very soon after that, now in the mid-1950s, a development occurred everywhere in the country, which was systematic, similar, and widespread. And that was that suddenly all the white projects began to develop large numbers of vacancies. All the black projects began to develop long waiting lists. And soon the situation became so untenable, so conspicuous. You couldn't have projects in the same city, some of which were virtually empty and the other of which had long waiting lists. The federal government and local housing agencies opened up all projects to African Americans. And then at about the same time, industry left the cities. Fewer and fewer jobs became available.
Hold on. So that's what we were getting into, right? So y'all see the play. So what happened was they started to get those, due to them FHA loans that we were reading about, right, in 1936. Now you're talking about this, the 40s now they talking about, right? So now it's in full swing. Those white families were getting those loans. They were bouncing them out to the suburbs, right? Now their projects were becoming empty. They now saying, okay, we can't keep those places empty. Now let's let them be available to the African American. Boom. Now we're loading up all of the projects. When that happens, they pull the jobs out of the cities. So now all those black families that's there, they're not able to get that money like they was getting before. Go ahead.
Hey,
Go ahead.
you know what's heavy?
Yes, sir.
Because you got a place called Motown in Detroit.
Yes, sir.
Where the Ford company was there, and they was hiring a lot of black people. A lot of black people was getting jobs. In Rochester, New York, you had a place called Kodak, the camera company.
Right.
Many people was getting jobs.
Yep.
But when the white people started moving out of them areas, they closed down the production assembly lines, and they took the jobs out, and the whole town dropped down.
And them places are suffering till today. Rochester's terrible. Detroit is terrible, right? And obviously, well, New York is a little bit different, but those projects are terrible. But of course, you got so much industry in New York that finance and all that, so it keeps the city up. But go ahead, hit play.
Global to the now increasingly and soon almost all African American population in the public housing. The population could no longer afford to pay the full cost of its rent, so the government had to begin subsidizing public housing. Maintenance declined in the projects. Prior to this, maintenance workers lived in the projects. They were paid good salaries and lived in the projects. Upkeep declined. The projects became vertical slums that we came to associate with public housing today. Another federal program that was perhaps...
Stop. So before, you had the grounds were nice, everything was taken care of, the maintenance guy lived there, right? Everything was straight. They pulled all the money back. Now you no longer have maintenance living there. Now you got what? You got blight and all of that. And he said they became vertical slums, right? As opposed to like big type neighborhoods, because y'all know everybody's, it's vertical, right? You got 20 floors of people. You got a whole neighborhood in one building, right? And now you got slums.
Hey, what's the name of that cartoon when the PJs?
Oh, damn.
You had the PJs. They showed you the super living in the building. So
Right.
if anything broke anything, he could go right upstairs and fix it right away.
That's right.
But he said they took all them things away. They took them out the project.
Hey, Cap, remember Good Times, Mr. Bookman?
Yep, Mr. Bookman. Yep, that's
Bookman was
another
right there.
He was right there on deck.
Yeah, that's crazy. Let me see if we want any more of this. Go ahead.
It's even more powerful in creating racial segregation, and that was a program of the Federal Housing Administration.
There you go.
Designed,
Whoa. Sorry, y'all. So that's what we read about earlier. That's the document that we were looking at, right? Look what it says. Designed to move white families. Go ahead, hit play.
to move white families out of urban areas into single-family homes in the suburbs. At a racially explicit basis,
we created a white noose around every urban area with federally subsidized single-family home subdivisions. These were giant subdivisions in many cases. The most famous of them, I'm sure you've heard of it, is Levittown, east of New York City.
Right.
17,000.
Pause. Levittown, east of New York City, right? So I don't know if this the Levittown on Long Island or the one in Jersey. I think it's like one in Jersey. I can't remember. But if it's the one on Long Island, which I think it is, it's the one on Long Island. So basically all of those white families went out there, and everything that we discussed with Dr. Brown started happening. No black families can go out there. It was a whole thing. All right, go ahead.
Homes in one place. What bank would be crazy enough to lend a developer the money to build 17,000 homes or 15,000 homes in one place for which he had no buyers? We were in a suburban country at that time. People thought the whole idea was lunacy. Who's going to want to live in a single-family home when they can live in the city instead?
Any of these
Pause. Hey, that's heavy. You heard that? He said in the city to think about even going out and buying a house and living in a single-family home was lunacy. Right now, that's what everybody want to do. Go buy a house. Back then, that was like, what? You ain't going to live in the city, live in an apartment? Everybody want to be in a little apartment.
Hey, Cap, you know what I'm helping you with? Yeah. Because when you're living in them apartments, you got mass transit all over.
Yes, sir.
Everything you need is really relatively available
Yep.
near you. Shopping malls, supermarket stores, and everything. But when you go out to them rural areas, you got to get in your car and drive to the store and drive to the train to be able to get some type of metro train to travel. So the transportation and everything else is right there. That's why he said it seemed like ludicrous. It was lunacy you to move all the way out where nothing really around instead of you being in the city where everything is at.
Right. And that makes a lot of sense, right? Because why would you do that? But they didn't understand it was a long-term plan, right? Like we read in Psalms, it was a long-term plan. And not even Esau probably didn't even realize it. I'm talking about the base of the people who was moving. They didn't even see the play. But go ahead.
First, the only way they could get the capital to build these giant subdivisions was by going to the Federal Housing Administration, submitting their plans for the development, for approval of the construction materials they were going to use, the architectural design, the layout of the streets in the subdivision, and an explicit commitment not to sell a home to an African American, required by the Federal Housing Administration.
Wow.
The Federal Housing
Administration. We got to stop there. Okay.
Out of 15,000 homes, 17,000 homes of middle-class blacks couldn't even move out there, and they could afford to move out there because of the FHA.
Right. They said the only way we can do this for you is if you promise no niggas. You know what I'm saying? You can't let a nigger in.
It was written in the deed. Yeah, it was written in the deed.
Literally, you could not let. If you let one in, then we can't deal with you. So this is, but showing you how they went into trying to build their people, right? So they had us in slavery for all them years, built up their wealth. Then the least of them, they started to try to build them up. Because they know that once they're all built up, they're able to help each other. But we got to get there with that. Our minds have to get there. That's why the scriptures say, gather yourselves together, O nation not desired. That's the only way that we're going to make it out here. And we're not making it for the fact of, we want to be well, people talk about generational wealth and all that. Yes, if you can, do it. But the point is, we trying to push Christ to come back. That's what we want. So as we all repent and gather ourselves together, we're looking for the second coming of Christ to jump out of here. We ain't so interested in, we need to build a community of 15,000 houses. No, that's not what we're talking about. We talking about something else. We talking about the kingdom. But go ahead. You have something.
That's right. Sirach 25 said, the Lord loved the lover brethren, the lover neighbors, and the man and the wife that agree. Right? The Lord said he loved that thing.
Right.
So you look at a white paper, you put the little black dot up there, that messed the whole paper up. That's how they looked at it with this community, with the FHA.
Right.
That one black family devalued the whole community.
Right.
You
Absolutely.
understand? That's how they looked at that. One little black dot messed the whole paper up. And that's how they designed it. That's why you couldn't move a black person in, because it's going to devalue so-called property over there.
Right. Right.
The hell is this?
Damn. Go ahead, play, y'all.
Administration even required, as a condition of these guarantees, developers like Levitt to place a clause in the deed of every home prohibiting resale to African Americans or rental to African Americans. These deeds still exist.
Not even a rental.
Even a rental.
They said, man, if them blacks come over here, then they're gonna start wanting to marry our kids.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But see, they understood the assignment. Our minds have to be like, see, if it wasn't until stuff like that we actually wanted to start living with them. See, that's the question you have to ask. Why did we even want to live among them? After all what we've been through with this people, our people wanted to move into those neighborhoods, right? Why? Because they said they got better value. They said that they got the better education. They said them things. But in reality, we were still the ones coming up with all of the inventions.
Right.
We were the best at everything. So what the hell? But because, you know what I'm saying, we didn't love each other. You understand what I'm saying? But
go ahead.
Could
that go back to like the basketball league, the Negro leagues and all that?
Yes, sir.
We had the better players.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? The better games, but for some reason we wanted to join their league.
Yes.
We get hit in the head with tomatoes to join their league. Booed. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
To join their league when we had better.
Man, we always wanted to turn that whites only pie into nigga pie.
Right.
That's just how we do, man.
Yeah.
They create envy in us.
Yep.
You know, they create envy in us and hanging stuff over our heads to make us want to be them.
Get that real quick. Proverbs 3. Yeah. Get that.
Go get Proverbs.
Hey, but this is very enlightening to the people who have no understanding of what's going on with the red line and the segregation and them living over there and we living over here. This would give a deeper insight how important it is for you to understand why these things happen.
Right. And just to land back, I said piggyback before, but we don't do pork. But to land back off what you're saying, Cap, is that, at the end of the day, this was a plan. It wasn't just, black people live over there, I'm going to move over there. That's not what was going on. It was set up like this. No, we're going to make sure these blacks stay here. We're going to make sure we over here. In about 100 years, the wealth gap is going to be so big that they're not even going to be able to move over here, even when they can. Even when we remove that so-called law, you know what I mean, where it's not enforceable, they're not going to be able to move over here because now these houses that were $20,000 are now $1 million. Them same BS houses. Right now, if you look in Levittown, them same BS houses is worth like $600,000-$700,000. You can't make it up. But go ahead.
It's the book of Proverbs, chapter 3, verse 31. Envy thou not the oppressor, and choose none of his ways.
Why? Because when we choose his ways, we always get the short end of the stick.
Right.
When we envy and want the things that they have, we always fail and we don't prosper at none of it because it was never made for us to do in the first place.
That's right.
It was made for us to be unified with one another. It was made for us to look out for one another. It was made for us to for Judah to help me raise my family and me to help him raise his family, and all of us helped each other.
That's right.
But they bred this envy in us. We wanted to be like them so bad to where Now we want to live in the suburbs and leaving everybody else out hanging.
Right.
That's how this crafty council stuff that they do to us, they know, they studied us. We were their slaves. They studied us. They understand how we work and what makes us tick and drive. So it's cool to hang the apple in front of you and make you chase the apple until you leave everybody behind.
Right.
They also know our scriptures too.
Yeah.
So what that Proverbs 23? Proverbs 23 and 7.
Proverbs chapter 23, verse 7.
Mhm.
For as he thinketh in his heart, so is he.
So if I can make you think, I know this is about you. The way what you think in your mind, that's what you're going to be.
Right,
so
right.
I'm going to tell you with my mouth that our schools are better.
Right.
Our communities are better.
Yep.
Right.
We're smarter.
Yep.
And we're going to act like that. So even the smart ones that make it out of, because we got some durable people in our communities.
Yeah.
Some people that make it out of the oppression.
Right.
But those durable people, those they end up taking all that to their neighborhood.
Yep.
Right.
Because they've been told that their school system's better, their hospital's better, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they made them believe that.
Yeah. Right.
Remember, as the scripture that you just read, as he thinketh in his heart, so is he. So they breathe that into you.
So
right.
They make it look good. They make it look better.
So they sitting there planning all these years, and stuff just happening to us.
Yeah.
You know, we're not planning anything like what are we going to do for the next 10 years? You know, how are we going to
Cat
create?
was just talking about.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's crazy. Hey, pull up video number 6.
It's crazy.
Look at this. Look at this, y'all. Video number 6. This man about to talk about how the home ownership, and we're gonna get into this too right after this little clip. Go ahead, y'all.
Decades of disinvestment and denial of many black residents to get loans to improve their homes hollowed the neighborhood out of wealth, opportunity, and community, leading to blight, crime, and poverty.
The substantial way that many people generated wealth, especially in the post-World War II era, was to have a home and use the leverage of a mortgage to increase value. Because of redlining, that was not available to African Americans, and it's resulted in this gross disparity in wealth.
Right. Y'all heard that, right? Because now when you own a home, right, as your home is building equity, so on and so forth, you can take from your house, take some equity, make moves, build. We didn't have that. So they had that advantage on us. So once they got that house, even though we started off making the same money as them, to a degree, once they got that house, that took them up another level. We stayed here. And then as the time went on, it went bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And that's why we have that wealth gap today. It's not something where, and you brothers and sisters, I hope y'all not those type that, you look at yourself as you defeatist spirit, like, I'm black, I'm no good. And no. You smarter and everything else. This was a plan set up, right? But this is part of the curses at the end of the day. This is part of the curses of being Israel. This is what we have to suffer because we did not keep the commandments of God, right? But we're going to repent and we're going to come back to the Lord, all right?
Well, like we talk about like the wealth gap and stuff. Wealth only gets you stuff. You can only buy stuff with it. There's no value really in the paper money. Right. You know what I'm saying? So if I can get you to value the money, we're not thinking about the chief things in life. We're not thinking about the unity of brethren.
Love the chief thing.
Yeah, the chief thing in life. Hey, I could have an excellent day and spend $20.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? I don't need $1,000 to have a good day. Right. I can go do something in my community or whatever, playground or whatever. I can walk the lake, have a excellent day. You know what I'm saying? But they tell you, you not living life if you're not jet skiing like these guys, or you ain't skydiving like these guys. Right. And they trigger that covetous spirit in us.
Yes, that's
you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
That's exactly what goes on.
I just looked up Elon Musk's net worth. His net worth is $422 billion. Right?
That don't even make sense.
That's crazy, right? It's only 8 billion people on the planet. So if he gave every person $1 billion, he would still have what?
That's outrageous, bro. That's a wild way to think about it.
Yeah. So it's not about the money. It's something special about us that we don't know. You know what I'm saying? That they still know. They never lost our identity. Something special about us to say, you know what? It's not about the money. We need to keep these people snared in holes, trapped in prison. You know what I'm saying? Like the scriptures tell us. That's how we know who we are.
Yeah, like Cap was saying about the mortgages and the equity on the homes, right? They would pull all of those good things out and then move us in there to pay that type of stuff off.
Right. It's crazy when you think about it, right? You got no, because this is even crazy. We bring up Elon Musk, right? $422 billion. Who in Elon Musk's family did what to get that?
All right.
What did he? Because we just seen Elon Musk just showed up one day. Yeah, he did. He showed up one day. It ain't like we've been knowing about him. He's a little kid and he found some oil in his backyard. We don't know what this man just showed up with bread. How you think he made it? His family's a slave owning family. Come on now. How you get $422 billion? That's not. That's what do you have? Remember, he came in building Tesla. What he had before that? Oh yeah, they said he made what he did, PayPal or something like that. Come on, bro.
But it ain't enough for that.
Stop it. At the end of the day, stop it. Get some help. Hey, put up video number 5 because we about to run off and go crazy with Elon Musk. I'm about to go crazy. You know what I mean? Elon, he got a little trouble right now. But Amalek's so scared of Elon, they ain't even say that the man was doing Nazi stuff. You know what I mean? But we're gonna leave that alone for now before they get at us. All right, yeah. Hit that real quick.
This is Central Park. It's an iconic part of New York City, a piece of nature tucked inside Manhattan. If you've lived in New York or even visited, you've probably been here.
But there's a part of this land story that visitors will never see.
It's the story of what was here before the park and the community that was destroyed to make way
for a second, y'all. Hit pause for a second. So a lot of y'all pretty much y'all heard of Central Park. Mostly everybody heard of Central Park. Central Park stretches from 59th Street in Manhattan all the way up to 110th Street, right? So it's I don't know, about 5 miles long and a couple of miles wide. So when they say Central Park, don't think it's like a little park or something. Like it's outrageously big, right? You got horse carriage rides, baseball games, all type of stuff going on in there, right? Everything going on inside there, right? You can just go in there and chill. So what we're looking at now, people, it's just a big park with a reservoir, so on and so forth. You might not know what we're about to show you right now, that there was actually a black community in there, a town inside Central Park. It was not Central Park at that time. It was Seneca Village, right? So we about to hit play.
Right. In the 1820s, New York City looked like this. Most people lived in this area, Lower Manhattan. Pretty much everything above it was yet to be settled. In this map, you can see how different the geography was. These little lines illustrate what used to be hills in Manhattan. This was the countryside. Downtown was the opposite. Lower Manhattan was dense and crowded. A few small neighborhoods were home to many of the city's poor whites and immigrants, and also to much of its black population. This document shows the number of slaves in New York State. You can see how it went down gradually, from 20,000 in 1800 to 10,000 in 1820, and finally to just 75 in 1830. Right. That's because in New York, slavery wasn't abolished all at once. Instead, it was ended over about 30 years.
Right.
And as more free black people joined the workforce.
Hold on. And it looked like 1830, that was around kind of when it was abolished, right? So the overall slave abolishment was 1865, right? So that's only a 30-year difference. So most people think of New York as like, oh man, all the slaves were just there chilling. No, they were slaves. They were slaves in New York. All right. So they were still feeling that same pain. They just had, it was just a different setup. Go ahead.
Racial tensions rose.
The people who were enslaved were now in competition with people coming over for jobs.
That tension led to violence, and Lower Manhattan became increasingly dangerous for free black people.
Right. Hey, stop there. Y'all remember that movie Gangs in New York?
Yep.
Right. So in Gangs in New York, remember, it was all white gangs fighting each other. In the book Gangs in New York, not what Martin Scorsese, I think he's the one that made that movie, right? He took out the black gang. I'm not trying to say that we should, let's show us black gang. But the number 2, the biggest gang down there, the number 2 gang was the black gang. So that guy that was the main dude in the movie, he was really fighting against some black people. But they took that out, and just had them fighting. So it looked like just white people down there. But that's what you're trying to say. It got so dangerous. Everybody, but it was our people was down there dumping it out. But go ahead.
Then, in 1825, plots of land started to go up for sale here, uptown. It was a way out. A black man named Andrew Williams decided to buy 3 lots.
Okay.
You know, word gets out, black people seeing other black people and saying, oh, there's a little bit of a community developing here. Maybe we can just fold into this community. So they start to move in.
After Williams, more lots filled up with black families and churches.
And it was here, between 82nd and 89th Street, that the community of Seneca Village was born.
So we went to ourselves and started building.
Exactly. Right? Hold on. Hey, you know what? I'll wait. I was going to pull something. Go ahead.
The Seneca Village offered black families an affordable, safe place. It also gave them the chance to vote. Black men could only vote in New York if they owned property.
Wow.
Over the course of the next 3 decades, the community grew to nearly 300 residents. Records from the census show that they were laborers, domestic workers, waiters, and shoemakers. And they built dozens of homes, 3 churches, and a school for black students.
Hit pause, y'all. You know there was way more than that. There wasn't just no shoemakers and waiters, and they had skilled positions. That's how they was able to do that. How you think them houses? You think them houses was sitting there? They had to build them houses. The engineers, the actual architects, the planners, and all of that. That's who was living there as well. Don't let these people.
Electricians.
Exactly. These people just, I'm telling you, it's just disrespectful. Even though they telling the story and they still being disrespectful.
Yeah, they try to dumb it down.
Yeah.
Like you was just a shoemaker.
Yeah.
You ain't build no house off no
a couple of
shoemaker.
shoemakers and a couple of them was mammies.
Waiters.
And yeah, come on, man.
Come on, man.
Well, go ahead.
Later, when Irish and German immigrants started moving into Seneca Village, it became unique for another reason.
It was an integrated community. It seems that people of all ethnicities were like...
Hit pause. You see, this is our problem. See, Esau already figured it out. They said we cannot have those people with us, but we always want them with us. This is how the whole thing went. I'm telling you, this is how the whole thing went down. It was multi. You see how she's starting to talk warm now? Like this was a good thing. It was multi-ethnic. It was so nice. You know, people wanted to be there. It was multi-ethnic. No, that's a problem.
Yeah.
That's a problem. Go ahead, hit play.
Getting along based on the church records that were here.
Among the documents are evidence that some white and black families attended baptisms together, were buried next to each other in the same cemetery, and intermarried.
Wow. See? Oh,
the people who lived in this area were individuals who were trying to find a new way of life.
Over the next 3 decades...
Hit pause. I'm sorry. You see that? They trying to find a new way of life. No, we were trying to survive.
Right.
We were trying to survive. And those Germans and them Irish, what they realized was, hey, over there is cheap. Them black people, they so loving, you know.
Let anybody in.
Yeah, they're not going to kick us out. They really don't have the power to kick us out. And they knew that black people wasn't going to make them feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We love making everybody feel comfortable. Go ahead, hit play.
Population of New York City nearly quadrupled. Lower Manhattan could no longer hold everyone. The city's white elite were worried that the entire island would be consumed by development. They said it called for the necessity of a city park to give lungs to the city.
This came out of the elite being able to start to travel to Europe, and they see the Champs-Élysées, and they see Kensington Park, and they think that the city deserves to have a park of that stature.
On July 21st, 1853, New York set aside 750 acres of land to create America's first major landscaped public park, the Central Park. But the proposed area for the park included Seneca Village, along with thousands of other lots of land, home to about 1,600 people. In order to facilitate the park's development, the city's newspapers started to downplay who really lived there.
They really described these people as living in shanties and shacks. People of the base cultures were living off the land.
But that wasn't true.
Hey, hold on.
Yep, there you go, Cat.
Hold on, give me a second, First Edrin.
Yes, sir.
572. Because you know what? They act like it was just a little part of the park. No, it was the whole damn park.
Come on.
Seneca Village. He said a village. He ain't said a little area. He said a village. It was a whole big, all that was us over there.
Yo.
And you know what happened? Esau seen us thriving.
Thank you.
In them communities. Esau seen us building and growing. And they were scared, what? That we'd take over the whole island.
Exactly.
They said they're growing at a rate so fast, they'll mess around and take the whole island from us. So that's what they send in these Germans and Irishmen and all these other brothers to throw a monkey wrench in our building. What
Exactly.
You gonna think
No, I was saying that go back into let us deal wisely with them.
Yup, 100%.
Because they growing and growing and growing and growing, and soon they're gonna be against us. They're gonna become our enemies.
More mighty.
100%.
More mighty than us. You know what I mean? Go ahead, y'all.
Read that.
First Ezra chapter 5 and verse 72. But the heathen of the land, lying heavy upon the inhabitants of Judea, and holding them straight, hindered their building.
Hinder what?
Hindered their building.
That's why they send the Germans in.
Exactly.
That's why they send in the Irish and whoever else, Scottish brothers, whoever they send in
whoever
there.
they can find. Right.
Come on.
And by their secret plots.
And you know what they did, because, you know, I'm from New York. So in Brooklyn, I seen them sitting in the poor white trash at first. You see the low-life poor white trash come in. Then all of a sudden you see one by a brownstone here and a brownstone there. And then eventually they got half of the block.
That's right.
Or more than half of the block. You understand? After a while.
Yep.
Come on.
And popular persuasion.
By secret plots. Secret plots and popular persuasion. You see them news articles? Squatters. Squatters living off the land, and they throw all this. That's that secret plots and popular persuasion they throwing out there to try to put it in the minds of the people that we wasn't nothing, or we living free off the land, or we ain't have no business there.
That's the
in
point.
their words.
That's the point.
Go ahead.
And by their secret plots and popular persuasions and commotions.
They was causing commotions. Throwing lies all out there, causing commotions. Come on.
Right.
They hindered the finishing of the building all of the time that King Cyrus lived.
And this is talking about that time of King Cyrus, but Esau, they committed the same thing, and they kept that same thing going to today.
That's right.
They use them same tactics till today to keep our people down.
Yeah. That's why when they rolled up and they said, "Oh, we wanna worship your God as you do," Nehemiah and them was like, negative. We not gonna be. That's what they said. Oh, they went to the same church. You can't come to church with us
ever.
No, the Lord said you cannot be in the congregation. No. That's it. We don't have nothing to talk about. Just we'll see you at work.
Right.
That's it. We will see you at work.
Verse 71.
That's
Go ahead. Yeah, read that thing.
Verse 71. We ourselves alone will build unto the Lord of Israel.
See that? We ourselves will build. That's our problem. We always want to build with them. Go ahead, Cap. I know that shit.
No, that was it.
Okay.
That's all I just wanted to bring out, that it was secret plots and popular persuasions and commotions to throw off us from building in the rest of Manhattan.
Right.
So they threw that in there. They caused havoc. They put things in the paper, put everybody against us, and they eventually took that land and destroyed that land.
That's
and
right.
not just there. Lower, what they talking about, Lower Manhattan was crowded and all that. You got a place there, a museum called the African American Burial Ground.
That's right.
When they found thousands, I'm talking about thousands of black people bones under the big buildings in Manhattan.
Right.
And little kids that's 2 years old had their arm ripped off from working hard labor in them places.
That's right. Downtown, and for those of y'all who don't know New York, downtown Manhattan is Wall Street area. That's the Wall Street that y'all hear about, right? Why is it called Wall Street? Because when they were bringing in the slaves, the stench was so crazy that they had to put up that wall. That was a literal wall there at one time. All right, that's why they did it. So it kept that name Wall Street. All right. So all of that history there, everything goes back to us always. Even downtown, one of the first people that became rich, guess what he was selling? Clams and lobsters. Guess who he was selling it to? Esau. And guess who he was? A Judah brother. He was doing that, right? Then that's how it turned into a delicacy. Everybody knew not to eat that stuff. But Judah said, wait a minute. They'll eat anything.
Right.
He likes it. He likes it. He starts selling clams. That's how it became a delicacy. I'm saying, I know we kind of going off on a tangent, but just to let you know, everything they do is based on us. Don't let her lie to you, talking about, they went to Europe and they saw that they had a change, and they wanted to put that in New York. That's BS. They said, they got that park popping.
Yeah.
It's looking better than ours.
Yep.
We got to get rid of that.
Yeah.
And now we're going to push them to the outskirts. First of all, they went uptown. Just the term uptown, it became that they was on 80-something street, but you go a little bit more, you in Harlem. So as they started to build, that's where our people wound up being anyway, right? But go ahead. Was there any more in that video?
And that's going back to what you're saying. They built Harlem and they came down to mid-Manhattan.
Right.
And they said these blacks, these niggas or Negroes
right.
about to take over the whole island of Manhattan. So
Absolutely.
we got to do something to stop them.
Absolutely.
In their tracks.
And you brought up a good point about Brooklyn, right? About the brownstones.
Yeah.
It's all Jakes was owning those. Jakes was owning those. Our people was owning those. Y'all might not know what the hell going on, but our people was owning them brownstones.
And brownstones is an expensive building. They ain't no
Very.
cheap buildings.
No.
They beautifully made buildings with high ceilings and all these things. And everybody who is somebody wanted to live in the brownstones.
Absolutely. You know what I mean? So everywhere where we at, they want to come there. We can't, I'm telling y'all, we can't have nothing for ourselves. Even if we all said, you know what? Even when they were saying, oh, everybody go back to Liberia. Remember when they was trying to ship Judah back to Liberia? They didn't really want to do that.
No.
That's why the Lord said we the salt of the earth. Yo, get that, please. Get that, please. Wherever we at, that's where the flavor's at. We the flavor.
That's why they wanted to gentrify everything, man, because we got everything popping and moving and grooving, and now you want to come back to the city from your suburb, right? And then push us out there.
Hey, but I want brothers to forget the thought. The thought is the Most High had it happen because we couldn't get comfortable here.
That's right. That's right.
The United States is not our place of rest.
No.
United States is a prison house that we were sent to to serve our time where we could get back right with the Father and get the hell up out of here. Because we broke his Lord's statute commandments.
Right.
Okay. No, we ain't going to go through the whole video. No, we good on that. But go ahead. Give me that. Matthew 5:13.
Matthew chapter 5, verse 13. Ye are the salt of the earth.
The Lord said, you are the salt of the earth. Go ahead.
But if the salt have lost his savor, wherewith shall it be salted?
Right, but if that salt has lost its savor, then what you gonna flavor up? Right. What the Lord is trying to say, what the Lord trying to say there is that without these laws, without us making ourselves different from these other nations, because that's why the Lord gave us the laws, for us to stand apart from the nations. Right? Then all our skills and talents will be seen and say, damn, this is a beautiful people right here. This is a God-fearing nation right there. And the Lord gave them all them talents. That's why he said, if the salt has lost its savor, go ahead, read that.
But if the salt have lost its savor, wherewith shall it be salted?
Right, go ahead.
It is thenceforth good for nothing, but to be cast out and to be trodden under foot of men.
Right. So the salt is us keeping these laws as the Israelites. That's the salt. But still, even without us, even in our wickedness, we still got flavor.
Yeah.
Right? Like you was bringing out yesterday, I think, Cap. I can't remember. I think I might have seen it in a video or something. But anything we do, these people follow.
Yep. Anything.
For sure.
Anything. Hat backwards, they doing it.
Yep.
Pants sagging, they doing it. Rapping, they doing it.
They calling each other the N-word.
Right, now they calling themselves the N-word.
Hey, let me tell you something. This is the most horrible thing I've seen them do out of everything they copy. They was trying to break dance at the Olympics.
Yeah.
So bad. Yo. No spirit in them at all. They looking terrible.
But look what you said, Cap. You said no spirit in them. Because there's a spirit to what we do.
Yeah.
You can't just do it. It got to be a spirit to it. There's a flavor to it. Right. That's why the Lord said, you the salt of the earth. Because when we touch something, it get different. Just like before when Ralph Lauren was making his clothes, right? White people was wearing his clothes. Cool. When we caught on to it, it turned into something different.
Yeah.
Right? Just like Timberlands, they were made to do what? Go work construction or whatever.
Yep.
We got our hands on that.
High fashion.
It's a high fashion. Yep. They got the nerve to have Timberlands selling for $250 now. That's because Jake made it so fashionable. We threw in a nice jean. We put on a wonderful sweater and a nice pea coat. And now all of a sudden, and then we in the magazines like this. Yo, you know what I mean?
Good stuff.
Yeah, they like, man, these guys, whatever they touch,
it turned to the next level.
Oh man, all praises to the Lord for that. You know what I mean? We gotta still give thanks to the Lord for giving us that spirit. Because I like what you said. There's no spirit to it.
Yeah,
our spirit is what. But guess what, y'all? We have to enhance our spirit with the scriptures. We have to. We have to gather ourselves back. We have to become the Israelites again, the 12 tribes. You blacks, Hispanics, Native American Indians, you must come back to the Lord. That's the only way we getting out of this thing. I'm telling y'all.
And that's our foundation. That's why I said we can't forget that we was brought over here to serve slavery.
That's right.
To serve punishment for breaking our God. Let me give one scripture before you go back to that video. Give me Deuteronomy 28, 15, and 16.
There you go. So I wanted to bring this out when Doc was there. We jumped.
It's the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe, to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
And it's going to show you right here, this next verse, that these curses came upon us because we did not do or we did not obey the voice of our God. You understand?
Right.
Read.
Cursed shalt thou be in the city.
So we was cursing the city. We was cursing Manhattan or New York City. We was cursing Florida. We got all these cities we are cursed in.
Right.
The cities where they have like the Lake Lanier,
right.
Lake Martin in Alabama, where they had Black Wall Street. It was a beautiful for a moment, but we are cursed people, and he had to bring us back to our reality. You are there to serve punishment for breaking my laws, statutes, commandments. You're not there to get comfortable. So shake out of it. I'm going to remind you that you are serving punishment. You under the curses to our return.
Real talk.
Go on.
And cursed shalt thou be in the field.
So we was cursing the city, and we was cursing the field. All right? That's all I want to get.
Let me get one to back cap up. Go to Isaiah 42:24.
Isaiah chapter 42 and verse 24.
Go ahead.
Who gave Jacob for a spoil and Israel to the robbers?
We were given to the spoilers. We were given to the robbers. Go ahead.
Did not the Lord?
Did not the Lord? Why did the Lord do it? Because we wasn't obedient. Just like what Cap was saying. Go ahead.
He against whom we have sinned. For they would not walk in his ways.
We refused to walk in the commandments. Go ahead.
Right.
Neither were they obedient unto his laws.
And we were always disobedient to his laws. That's why we were sent here. That's why we had to be cursed in the city and cursed in the field.
Right.
This ain't our rest, man.
No.
For real.
No, get that. Get Jeremiah 29. Right? Because even in our captivity, right? Because this ain't our rest, but the Lord said, guess what? Build houses, do what you got to do, right? That's what they did, Seneca Village, right? They went, they built houses, right? But we're going to see something.
Jeremiah chapter 29, verse 4.
Right, just in case, because we might have some people out there saying, man, these guys, maybe they don't want us to have a house. They because some people got stupid ideas about the Israelites. You know what I'm saying? Like, like we all live in a commune or something like that. No. Work, get your education, buy your home, do whatever you need to do. But you got to keep the laws of God. But watch this, y'all. Go ahead. Verse 4.
Verse 4. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, the God of Israel, unto all that are carried away captive.
That's all of us that's carried away captives, you blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, throughout the diaspora, throughout the four corners. Go ahead.
Whom I have caused to be carried away from Jerusalem unto Babylon.
Right, unto Esau's system. Wherever his lands is at, that's Babylon, y'all. Modern day Babylon. Go ahead.
Build ye houses.
Build ye houses. That's what they did. Go ahead.
And dwell in them.
Go ahead.
And plant gardens.
Go ahead.
And eat the fruit of them.
Mm-hmm.
Take ye wives.
Take ye wives.
And beget sons and daughters.
Right. So basically just build your family. Do what you got to do. Right? But watch this. Go to Lamentations 5. Because we're going to show you what Cap said is on point. Meaning you're not going to get comfortable. Even though we building houses and we doing different things, that don't mean the Lord going to keep you there. That don't mean that house going to stand the whole time. No. We got to stay in these scriptures. We got to stay on our toes because this is not our rest. Go ahead, y'all. 5 and 1.
Lamentations chapter 5, verse 1. Remember, O Lord, what is come upon us. Consider and behold our reproach. Our inheritance is turned to strangers.
That's what we saw with the people down in the South when they got the thing taken with the heirs property thing. Yep. Our inheritance is turned to strangers, the other nations. Go ahead.
Our houses to aliens.
Our houses to aliens, people who ain't got nothing to do with us. All right, who's not Israel. All right. So this is what we talking about, y'all. So don't be. Oh man, this is unbelievable.
Read that next one, Cat.
Yeah, go ahead.
We are orphans and fatherless.
Oh man.
Our mothers.
Hold on. We are orphans and fatherless. Why? Because what? Now they talking in a term of our people getting killed off. But being fatherless, why? Because we're not keeping the laws. We have to go back to the Father. So we could be called the sons of the living God. That's what it's talking about. Being heirs with Christ. Go ahead.
We are orphans and fatherless. Our mothers are as widows. We have drunken our water for money.
Right.
Our wood is sold unto us.
Right. So the wood that we own, they come, they steal it and then sell it back to us and say, here goes some matchsticks. Here goes some fire logs. Although we could have just chopped it up, but they took the wood and then sold it back to us. Come on, y'all. We're gonna leave it there.
Hey, I gotta hit this one before we go back to the videos because you sparked my spirit with that one, man. I'm telling you, give me 2 Corinthians 7 and 17. I mean 6 and 17.
2 Corinthians chapter 6.
Because he said we are fatherless. Because we wasn't like Cap said, because we wasn't keeping the laws after commandments, we became fatherless. But look what God tells us right here. Bring it out. Come on.
2 Corinthians chapter 6 and verse 17. Wherefore, come out from among them.
Come out from among them.
Yes. Right.
Them and us is two different people.
Yeah.
They are who they are, the wicked, and we are who we are, the righteous.
Right.
Come from among them. Come from among the evil, wicked, damn Edomites, so-called Caucasian.
Yep.
Come from out of the Moabites, the Chinese. Come from out of Ammon, the Japanese. Come from out of Elon, the East Indians. Come from out of Ishmael. You understand? The so-called Arabs. Come from among all these different people. Come on, and be ye separate.
Yeah.
Because we are the salt of the earth. That's why he told us to be separate from the rest of them.
That's right.
Come on.
And be ye separate, saith the Lord.
He told us to be separate. We ain't not doing it. People say, oh, well, why would y'all want to be by yourself? Why you want to be segregated? Because God said it.
Right.
God said be segregated.
Right.
Come on.
And touch not the unclean thing.
Don't touch the things they did that they into. Come on.
And I will receive you.
And then he will receive us.
Right.
Then he, who is he? God, our Father, will receive us. Come on.
That's right.
That's right.
And will be a father unto you.
He's telling us that he will be a father back to us. We won't be fatherless no more.
Right.
We'll have our father back in the house. Come on.
And ye shall be my sons and daughters, saith the Lord Almighty.
All praises.
Right. So, Cap, look what it's saying right there. So when we become separate, when we separate ourselves from them, then he will receive us. Yeah. Hey, that was crazy. Y'all need to really understand what the Lord is saying. When you separate yourself from them, then you will be received. That's why you can't be marrying them.
Yeah.
That's what it's Seneca Village talking about. Oh, we married them. No. The Lord said don't do that.
Yep.
The Lord said don't do that.
And that's where they got it took from them.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's the play.
Come
That's
on.
the play. That's the playbook. God
Yeah,
said run this
That's
play.
right.
And then every time we present it to the people, they say, well, what about the white people?
Right.
They're not ready. They're not ready. We got to keep presenting it as God said it.
Right.
Yep.
You know?
What if we run the audible? No, the audible gets
Yeah.
stopped every time, bro.
Yeah.
We said the audible gets stopped every time.
Yeah, it gets stopped every time because look. If you even look at the video that we was watching just a couple minutes ago, we was in there. We prospered. We separated from them. White people was integrated in, and then everything failed.
It's the same move.
It's the same move. Same move with the Black Panther Party. They was moving and grooving and doing their thing. Integrated white people, everything fell to pieces. But it go back to what Cap was saying. If we don't separate and do our thing and run the play how we supposed to run it, it's always gonna fall. Every single time.
This being spiritual Egypt, look at the first Egypt. We didn't live in Egypt with the Egyptians. We lived in Goshen.
Yep.
Right.
Outside.
Right.
Yeah, and we prospered at the end of the day. When
Right.
they got their plagues, they didn't touch us because we were separate.
Right. We had to separate. We got to be away from these people. It's just the way it is.
Yep.
It's the way it is. I think. Go ahead.
Hey, and even if we is separate and you're not running the play how it's supposed to be ran, it's still gonna fall. So if you try to bring a bunch of you trying to unite Bloods and Crips and they all in one area, it's still gonna fall because we don't have no history behind what we doing. We don't all know where we going. We not all on one mind, one accord.
That play he talking about is the Bible.
That's right.
It is the Lord's commandments where we got to come back to. That's our foundation. Without the foundation, everything gonna keep falling through.
That's
When we have our foundation, like they was bringing up earlier, that's when we're going to come together and be united. That's
right.
why we're going to come together and be strong again as a nation when we come together under the Lord statute commandments of the Bible.
That's right. The whole
Everything
earth.
else gets you oppressed and crushed always.
The Lord said, I made this whole earth for you. You know what I'm saying? And when that time comes, like the Lord said, I'm going to make you ruler over 5 cities, over these cities, so on and so forth.
Right.
We ain't going to be worrying about that kind of stuff. I'm telling you, y'all better get y'all belief. Y'all have to believe it. What Bishop read yesterday when Christ said, but do you believe? But do you believe it? You know what I mean? I can't remember where it was, John something. If somebody could find that.
Yeah.
What? John 11? No, that don't sound like it. It wasn't John 11. I don't think that was John 11. Y'all find that. In the meantime, bring up number 15. We don't got that much more time, but I want to touch on this real quick, right? Because there was different ways of the redlining started way before they were actually calling it redlining, right? They were trying to stop our communities from growing. Look at this. 5 black American towns hidden under lakes and ultimately from history books. But this is only 5. It's way more, y'all. It's way more. We just didn't have time. We probably going to have to revisit it on another show. Hey, get that stuff out of there. All right, all praises. Yeah, that was looking crazy. Hey, blow that up. All right, cool. So this first one is what Cap just brought up, right? Lake Lanier. Go ahead, read that.
All right, this is in Oscarville, Georgia. Lake Lanier is a popular weekend destination known for fishing, boating, and so much more, including an eerie reputation that has deemed it as haunted in Georgia.
They talking about an eerie reputation like it's some kind of joke. You know what I mean? Like, it's the haunted house. We're going to go. This is not a game. Read on.
But one lesser known fact is that the lake sits on top of the black town Oscarville.
Oscarville, right? So look what it says here. Oscarville was, I'm sorry, officer, I'm going to just read this real quick. Oscarville was burnt down in 1912, and more than 1,000 residents were forced to flee following the allegations of rape. The same thing all the time.
Populist persuasion.
Exactly.
Secret plots.
Right. Secret plots, popular persuasions, right? Outright lies, and now what? They had to burn down a town because we were thriving there. Scroll. Go to the next one, y'all. Go to the next one. Look at this. Go ahead, read that, bro.
Cowaliga, Benson, Alabama. Turns out Alabama's Lake Martin is built on the previous majority black town of Cowaliga. It is home to the first black-owned railroad started.
Wow. Go ahead.
Started by William E. Benson and the black school Cowaliga Academic and Industrial Institute.
This is crazy. Now, I'm going to keep it a buck. I didn't even know that. I didn't even know that we owned the railroad. I'm saying we. I didn't know that, right? The first black-owned railroad started by William Benson. That's where it was in Cowaliga, right? Or Cowaliga, however they pronounce it, right? And then all of a sudden, what? Go ahead, scroll. We have to find out what happened. Look, it said that he sold acres of land to black families, right? He purchased thousands, right? William is the son of John Benson. His dad, who was enslaved and then freed, went on a journey to rescue his sister in Florida who was separated during slavery. They made their way back to Alabama. He purchased thousands of acres of land, sold a lot of those acres to black families where he formed a community. So something similar to Seneca Village. Go ahead. Scroll up.
Okay.
Look at this. No, don't go all the way, bro. Right there. After William's death and the closing of the school, Cowaliga was destroyed to make room for Lake Martin. That makes sense?
Yes.
You can't make it up.
Same exact move.
Yeah, we know about Seneca Village. Go ahead, scroll past Seneca Village. We know all about them, demons. Go ahead, read that.
Number 4, Susanna, Alabama. Susanna or Susana was also flooded by Lake Martin. According to Alabama Living, more than 900 bodies were moved from cemeteries before the land was submerged.
Human lies. Go ahead.
The town once included a gold mine.
Why would you flood a town with a gold mine, y'all? These people are liars. Go ahead, read on.
A school, 2 mercantile, a grist mill, a flour mill, a sawmill, a blacksmith shop, and a church.
Right. It's gone. The gold mine alone should have been able to just keep that whole place open. Nobody
Yep.
should even have power to do something like that, showing you that. What? They went in there, robbed the gold, and kept it pushing.
Yep.
And killed people, and then put the thing on top. They didn't move no damn bodies. Go to number 5. Go ahead.
All right, number 5, Vanport, Oregon. In the 1940s, Vanport was the center of a booming shipyard industry because of World War II, and quickly became the second largest city in the state. But as World War II saw white males drafted to serve overseas, a labor shortage pulled in a great migration of blacks from the South.
Right. So that's what we were seeing earlier. Remember that when all of all the African Americans, blacks were coming up from the South, going up to the major cities like New York and so on. Go ahead.
With soldiers being drafted overseas to fight in the war, Oregon saw a labor shortage. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I just read. Scroll. Because I just read that. Scroll up. Scroll up. Scroll up. All right. These new workers needed places to live. As the Albina neighborhood was the only place where black people could live legally, it became too small for the growing population of black Americans, and Vanport was built as a temporary housing solution.
So this is the same exact thing that we've seen in the projects. Remember we was watching the clip about the projects, how it was put together. Same exact thing. Scroll up, y'all. Scroll. Let's get to it.
At its peak, 40,000 residents, or 40%, were African American. But then, in 1948, massive flooding erupted in the neighborhood.
How did it erupt? How is this going to erupt? They trying to act like it was Noah's Ark or something.
It was a natural disaster.
Right. Oh, it just erupted.
Nah.
Yo, go ahead.
And
that erupt, I think it's going back to them having dams or something around it, and they might have blew it up like they did.
That's what they did, Cap.
In New Orleans.
Yes, that's what
definitely,
they did.
Cap.
Yep. That's exactly what happened. Go ahead.
And city officials didn't warn residents of the dangerously high water levels. Many didn't evacuate in time.
Just say that they got killed, that the city killed them. Go ahead.
The town was wiped out within a day. 18,500 families were displaced, more than a third black American.
Right, meaning all of them were black Americans. That's what it meant. They would not be doing that to their people, right? But we just wanted to throw that up there, just to let y'all know about this whole housing thing. It's always been a thing with them, whether it's violence through violence, like we read in the book of Micah, either they taking it through violence or they doing it through the power of the pen and the law and all that. At the end of the day, family, we are the Israelites. We not in our rest. You know what I mean? So we have come to the end of the show.
That's right.
We want to shout out Captain Hananiah for gracing us. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All praises, Cap.
Thank you for having me here.
You know what I mean?
And listen, this is a beautiful topic that we got to touch on again.
Yeah.
Because redlining goes so deep.
Yes.
We just scratching the surface
Absolutely.
on this thing. All praises.
All praises to the Most High, man. This was a great show. Hey, put up the thumbnail. We want to thank Dr. Brown again for coming on, and blessing us. You know what I'm saying? Because that was great. Lord's will, we can have him on. Yes, sir. All right. So put up the thumbnail for next week's show. Y'all gonna. All right. So, yeah, we got Mr. Thomas Jones Jr. He calls himself the woke prophet. He's sort of a warlock or some kind of witch or wizard, or he sees himself being able to deal with the spirits, Cap. Yeah.
Necromancer.
Yeah, we're going to find out what it is. So the name of the show is called Divination and Prophecy. Can they coexist? The answer is no, obviously, right, if you know the Bible. Right, so all praises. We're going to have that show next week. I think it's going to be very
interesting.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, to say the least.
Yeah.
Yo, all right. So, listen, y'all, we about to be out. We want to say thanks for watching.
The
all right?
thing.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. Oh, damn. Wrong hand.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, make sure y'all hit the QR code. All right, y'all donate to the Booster Club, the Isaiah 11:11 project. We doing big things all around the world. Y'all seen the videos of Solomon Island. Captain Hananiah was out there. Y'all gonna see that in full documentary. All right, so Cap, who's with us today, was out there. He's all over the place, all over the world, doing damage out there, bringing the word to the people. So that's when you seeing the brother right here, you're seeing where the money goes, right? So nobody's taking y'all money and buying Bentleys and mansions, right? So send that money and feel good that your money's going to the right place, right? Also, we forgot to mention that. So when we start our shows, make sure y'all watch. If y'all on Instagram, we're gonna be live on Instagram for an hour. All right, I think that's the most you can do live is on Instagram. It's an hour, and after that, y'all jump to YouTube, all right, or wherever y'all watch, Facebook, whatever the case may be. All right, so with that, we about to get up out of here. Hey, Officer Shim, take us out, bro.
Man, you already know what it is, man. You already know what it is. You get that scripture. You get it right now.
Nehemiah chapter 13, verse 21.
Yes, sir.
Then I testified against them and said unto them, why lodge ye about the wall? If ye do so again, I will lay hands on you.
Guess what? If you do that thing again, we got to lay hands on you.
That's
if
right.
you think you going to stop God's word from us waking up our people, we got to put hands on you. And if you don't, where is it? Over here by Judah. Donate to the Booster Club.
That's right.
We got to put hands on you. Hey, this is the Nehemiah Squad. Y'all just tuned in. It's your host, Officer Shim, Captain Zakai, Officer Judah, and our special guest, Captain Hananiah. And we out.
Ooh. All right, most high Christ bless y'all. Shalom, family.
I need a break.
We don't hit him with the one.
I need a script. I don't need your grievance. Keep it to yourself. It's better for my health. Leave it on the shelf. Ain't hearing nothing else. Tonight and tonight, knowing the price. Pay it off with my life. Till it's out with your lights. Do it all for the Christ. And he ain't playing nice. Knew the end from the start. Fix your face like it's art. The sons of a simp, call him Bart. Yeah, you did your best, played your part. But now it's time to cut you to the heart. Flex on occasion. It's the strangeness of the salvation. You see it, believe it, amazing. Them chariots coming invasion since the creation. War, mine, Lord, bless the general. Greatest nation, eat them unequivocal. Bombs dropping, buddy, cause it's biblical. Start shit, now it's time to finish. Whoa. Said he won't woke, he looking for smoke. So, we give him some more. We want the world, we breaking them down. Taking the kingdom, can't wait for the crown. We want the world, we breaking them down. Taking the kingdom, can't wait for the crown. It's the end of the world. Ain't the beginning of ours. It's the end of the world. Ain't the beginning of ours. It's the end of the world. Ain't the beginning of ours. We want the world, we breaking them down. Taking the kingdom, can't wait for the crown. It's the end of the world.
I can't wait for our kingdom to start and for there to be finished. Get rid of all of their idols and lying religions. Look for the crown like an Edris. Hey, this that crown talk. Wisdom of Solomon 5 talk. This that second Edris 6 and 9. We want eyes talk. It's your time to end and my time again. It's our time to win. Away with the sin. You know what it is. Rejoice with my kin. See that is why we repented. Go to the streets, I can see myself in it. The city is bright, the kingdom of light. A wonderful sight past the angels, the inner light. I need 1,000 years of labor. Sit on my throne with my savior. Try to know wine, press alone. He bring pain like major. You think the nations is equal to us? TK Kirkland, who raised you? Flex on occasion, my God a racist. That's why we moving with patience. It's been a long time coming. I spent my whole life running. Now that I'm 10 toes down and established my faith on 100. Woe to the nations, my king will race them. You know they gotta be punished. Jeremiah 25. Yeah, you know they gon' fry. Whoa. Said he won't woke, he looking for smoke. So, we give him some more. We want the world, we breaking them down. Taking the kingdom, can't wait for the crown. We want the world, we breaking them down. Taking the kingdom, can't wait for the crown. It's the end of the world. Ain't the beginning of ours. It's the end of the world.